All right, y'all. All right. Let's get things started, shall we? Let's go. Welcome, everyone, to the channel. We pretty much have a new segment, thanks to the homie. So, basically, is what we're going to be doing. This is going to be, there we go. This is basically going to be called a brand new segment called Council Talk. That's basically what we are doing. That is what we are doing for this. Basically, we had a crazy discussion on 2 streams. We had a talk about Mortal Kombat during the episode of MBW, and then we talked more about Mortal Kombat during the Ultimate Spider-Man stream. And honestly, the homie thought it was a good idea. Husky Degree, shout out to you. He was like, why don't we talk about it? Like, let's actually go all the way back to 1991 and actually see what we can do. And I'm like, you know what? This sounds like a great idea. Not gonna lie, I feel that there should be a segment for this. And in my head, I'm like, Council Talk. That'll be the new segment moving forward. If anyone wants to bring up any type of conversation that brings a big storyline that we can talk about, honestly, let me know down below. So yes, we are now in the new segment of the channel, Council Talk. And this episode is going to be about Mortal Kombat, of how the story just became utter garbage and how nothing makes sense anymore. And how the timeline got reset 3 times. And I need a refresher and to the point where we can actually talk about it. So you already know what it is. It's Wolfie Kingston on the Wolfie Kingston channel. And welcome to Council Talk. Husky is brought up to the head of the next to me at the head of the table of the council table as we talk about Mortal Kombat. And, just want to let y'all know now. We are sponsored by Advanced GG, where we have everything to your needs. The link is in the description below. And if you want some merch, the link is also in the description below. And as always, we're going to anime conventions for level and positivity. The content's with you. Let's get right into it. I actually found a video that has the entire Mortal Kombat timeline explained. Hopefully, we should, put pieces together and see how things go. So let's get started. I'm excited. We're going to check out Maga page. Shout out to you for making this video. And let's get started. And of course, we're going to be pausing and talking about it and all that stuff. So let's get it.
Today, I'll attempt to explain the entire story of Mortal Kombat in chronological order. I'll be covering all the main canon games in this video, starting with the original 1992 arcade classic.
Oh, okay, it was 1992 when the first Mortal Kombat came out.
However, before we start, there's a ton of lore and backstory we need to get out of the way first.
Okay.
The rise of the Mortal Kombat universe. In the beginning, long before the birth of the Mortal Kombat universe as we know it, there was nothing. Well, nothing except a trio of
Oh, you actually seen this video? Okay, bet. So then this video is this whole stream is gonna go smoothly.
Power granted them control over the laws of reality. Then there was the One Being, an all-powerful creature fueled only by its own greed and gluttony. And then there were the Titans, a primordial race whose ability rivaled even those of the Elder Gods.
Wait. So wait. some of the characters from MK9, not MK9, MK1, were they originally one of the Titans? And if that was true, which character is that? Because I'm gonna be real, like I'm still kind of like, lost in the lore a little bit. Elder gods mentioned boo. Okay, so we hate them. Okay, go bet. Hold on. Elder gods have been mentioned. We don't like them. Boo. Okay, gotta get my good old soundboard out. So boo. Okay, we don't like them.
What's wrong with them?
Exactly. Okay, let's continue.
As the story goes, the one being, fueled by his endless hunger, began to move against the elder gods at the dawn of time. That is to say,
Wait. Okay, so wait, let me get this straight real quick though. The elder gods were never playable in Mortal Kombat, correct? Is that correct? The elder gods that were mentioned in the backstory, and I believe the elder gods were also mentioned again in Mortal Kombat 9, if I'm not mistaken, because the elder gods were pissed off at Raiden because they're like, Raiden, you're fucking up the timeline. What are you doing? You know what I mean? But with that said, where were the elder gods playable? Were they ever playable, or were they just mentioned in the story and then, we never saw them again? Two have been playable? Which ones were those? Which ones were those that were playable? Cuz shit, I probably played as one of the characters throughout the years. Centurion and Shinnok. Oh, Shinnok's a fucking god? I didn't know that, and I never played Shinnok. I don't like Shinnok. Shinnok pissed me off in MK10, but alright.
the one being took it upon himself to consume any elder god they could get their hands on. Fearing for their survival, the elder gods did not take kindly to the one being's advances. So to prevent further damage, the elder gods crafted 6 powerful artifacts to fend off the one being, a collection of weapons known as the Kamidogu. With the Kamidogu, the elder gods were able to drive the one being away and save their race. They did it by shattering the one being into 6 different pieces, each one containing a part of its essence. Still, as godlike beings go, it's surprising that the one being didn't perish from this. Simply put, the creature was split and rendered dormant, but in no way was the one being really dead. On top of that, the one being's consciousness was able to get through the whole ordeal. So yeah, the deity was still around, although it couldn't do as it pleased anymore. As it turns out, the one being's split essences would be the basis from which the Mortal Kombat would be born. These 6 fragments eventually transformed into the universe's main realms, and as time passed, would be home to its various champions. First among these realms is Earthrealm, a dimension that closely resembles the real world. It's inhabited by humans and more commonly known simply as Earth. Next, there was Outworld, a realm identified by its brutal, violent culture and ambition that goes far beyond its borders. Simply put, Outworld is a land of war, where there's
Khan
only
versus
one rule:
Khan, Shao Kahn
might
versus
is
Kotal
right.
Khan.
Then there were twin worlds known as Saido and Chaos Realm, 2 faces of the same coin. Saido, also called the Order Realm, is a place where, well, order, law, and structure are worshipped by its native inhabitants, the Saidans. On the other hand,
God,
Chaos
that run
Realm
animation
stands as
reminds
its
me of the
exact
first
opposite.
Assassin's Creed game.
It's a world where chaos reigns. Fifth among these worlds was Edenia, a land of magic and beauty. Of all the other realms, Edenia stands as the closest thing you could get to a dimension that resembled Earth. That is, except for the fact that Edenians are well versed in magic and the arcane arts. Finally, there was Netherrealm, a literal flaming hellscape where damned
Netherrealm,
souls go
Scorpion,
after they die.
of course,
It's a place
hell.
primarily inhabited by grotesque creatures known as Onai,
Outworld
or
is
demons,
made multiple
along with
realms,
hordes of restless spirits. Each of the Mortal Kombat universe's
Shao.
primary realms
Of course,
was
Shao
also represented by its
ruined it for
respective
people.
Kamidogu. In other words, you had one of the artifacts resembling each of these 6 worlds. Now, we won't go much into it just yet, but there's also a collection of other minor worlds aside from the 6 main realms, such as Dream Realm and Nightmare Realm. In any case, the third race of primordial entities, the Titans, would find themselves in conflict with the Elder Gods after the birth of the 6 realms. As a result, the Titans would recede from the annals of history. Well, all except one, a Titan named Kronika, Without getting ahead of
Oh
myself
my god,
too
I
much,
hate this
all you
bitch.
should
I
know for
really
now
do.
is that
Oh my god. Playing MK11 Chronica is the crappiest final boss character. I've one of the worst boss characters I've ever fought. Honestly. Because why in the hell, when it reaches to the second phase, she brings in a whole ass dinosaur that you can't even block? That was literally the stupidest thing they could have done. And then what? Chronica becomes playable after? It's stupid. It's stupid. Chronica, I hate Chronica. I hate Chronica.
Chronica would eventually play a huge part in the overarching lore of the Mortal Kombat universe. But for now, let's place our focus back on the Elder Gods. You see, after the birth of the 6 realms, the Elder Gods decided to stand as reality's watchmen. That is to say, they kept an eye on each one of these worlds. Their top priority was to make sure each of the 6 realms remained independent of one another. And should any one of them decide to invade the other without going through the necessary process,
for real.
the Elder Gods had the right to intervene. Some time would pass and the Elder Gods would come to realize that not all of the 6 realms were created equally, and some of them proved to be more unruly than the others. Specifically, the Elder Gods knew that of all the 6 realms, Outworld was the one that was most likely to attempt an aggressive takeover of its neighboring worlds. To make sure that the balance of power among the 6 realms would remain, the Elder Gods installed a divine rule that would at least slow down Outworld's intentions to invade the other worlds. This divine rule involved a sacred competition between champions from each of the 6 realms.
Okay, that explains, everyone had their own champion in
It's
each
held every
realm,
50
of course.
years, and this contest
Scorpion,
is what would eventually
Sub-Zero,
be known as
I think
Mortal
Earth realm
Kombat.
was most
As
likely
far as
Liu
Mortal
Kang,
Kombat's rules go,
Kung
any
Lao,
champion who wins a single
Johnny
tournament
Cage.
would be granted
Earth
extended youth.
realm had multiple
Specifically,
champions,
anyone
actually.
who wins one Mortal Kombat event won't age in the next 50 years. In other words, they would be the same age until the next Mortal Kombat...
Wait. So they have a Mortal Kombat tournament every 50 years? Okay, hold on. I need to rewind that.
Next 50 years. In other words, they would be the same age until the next Mortal Kombat competition rolls around and the champion defends their title. On top.
So if you win Mortal Kombat, you just gain immortality for the next 50 years? That's pretty crazy. No, they didn't start the Mortal Kombat tournament until Shao Kahn wanted Earth Realm. So Shao Kahn was like, I'm bored. Let's start a Mortal Kombat tournament and attack Earth. Bring Earth in here. So basically Shao Kahn literally started the drama, basically. All right, now we can see where the bullshit starts. But back on the part where Shao absolutely ran through everybody until they got to Earth, then the Elder Gods stepped in. So why did it take that long? Why would it have to take that long just for the Elder Gods to be like, hey, Shao Kahn, the fuck are you doing, dude? Like, you're running a train through like the entire, with each realm. Now all of a sudden you're trying to attack Earth Realm. Like, we're gonna put a stop to that. That's, in my opinion, the Elder Gods should have stepped in after Shao Kahn ran a train on like 2 different, realms. That's just me.
But the Elder Gods had made sure that the law of Mortal Kombat was absolute. Once you've been chosen to participate in it, there's no way you could back out of the competition. On the other hand, once you're chosen to fight in Mortal Kombat, you really can't back out. Wow, it sounds like the draft. Place where participants of the competition aren't allowed to sabotage their rivals outside of the event. However, most importantly, there's the Mortal Kombat win streak rule. As far as the lore goes, any realm that wins 10 consecutive Mortal Kombat tournaments will have the opportunity to rule over the realm that they've defeated. So, all in all, it would take a realm like Outworld at least 500 years before they could invade any other dimension. Somewhere along the way, a fabled race known as the Dragons would emerge within the Mortal Kombat
Isn't that
universe.
Onaga?
Dragons were lauded, worshipped even, because they believed they were direct descendants of the Elder Gods. As a matter of fact, dragons were held in such high regard in times past that their influence rivaled those of the gods themselves. Now, just to make things clear, there's a difference between Elder Gods and regular gods. Elder Gods are these primordial entities that have existed long before the creation of the 6 realms. On the other hand, you had regular gods. They also held power over the laws of nature. However, they're not remotely as powerful as their elder god counterparts. For one, gods only have power within the
Oh
realm in
yeah,
which they
she's a
reside.
god too. So I did
Also,
play. I
they're
did play her. I
technically
did play her
unable to
when
participate in the
11
Mortal
came out.
Kombat tournaments unless they take advantage of a loophole within the rules, which involves a god taking on a mortal form. Now, gods are usually installed as protectors of their respective realms. A good example of this would be the classic MK character Raiden, who isn't just the god of
It's
thunder,
Raiden,
but also
not
the
Raiden.
designated
But
guardian
okay,
of Earth realm
sorry, that
itself.
pissed me off.
In any case, dragons came into existence at some point in Mortal Kombat's history. Apparently, Outworld was once populated by this race, but then they quickly disappeared for unknown reasons. However, back then, not every dragon's left Outworld. One remained, a dragon who went by the name Onaga.
Okay,
You
that's
see,
what I was
true
right.
to
I was
his
like, isn't that
Outworld
Onaga?
roots, Onaga
See, I
had
know
the
my Mortal
interesting
Kombat
idea
stuff.
of ruling over his own realm. So instead of packing things up and going with his other
I need to
dragons,
pause this. The Elder Gods watched Shao run shit like Bond before before going. Okay, maybe let's do something. Another thing, by the time MK in 1992, which was the first Mortal Kombat started, they were at the 10th tournament after Outworld won 9 in a row. Raiden mentioned Boo. Oh my god. Raiden said the name wrong. That's what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying. I'm like, dude, he said the name wrong. That kind of made me upset. But so by the time we talk about the first Mortal Kombat, which we're still talking about the fucking we're still talking about the lore before we actually get into the story. So in the first Mortal Kombat game, technically by story of what you're saying, Shao Kahn was already on his 9th win. And Shao Kahn was about to get his 10th win in the first Mortal Kombat, which was released in 92. Wow. So we were already under pressure without even knowing. That's insane. The Elder Gods wanted Shao for hundreds of years, by the way. Oh, that's ridiculous. Okay, see, now I'm more upset by the Elder Gods, because why did it take you this long to do something? It's like, oh, 9 wins in a row. Okay, you know what? Maybe we need to actually put an end to this guy. Like, something's not right. Like, that's stupid.
Bros, Onaga decided to stay in Outworld and master his abilities there, all in the hopes of one day
Quan
using
Chi.
them to rule over the entire realm. And as luck would have it, Onaga got
Freaking
what he
Onaga
wanted.
doing the Obafemi.
Using his immense powers and strength, Onaga eventually took control of Outworld to become its Dragon King. Make no mistake though, some good came of this turn of events. You see, prior to Onaga's rise to power, Outworld was a fragmented realm ruled over by various petty kings and leaders. But when the Dragon King arrived, he managed to unify all of Outworld under his rule, turning the realm into a single powerful force. Onaga also managed to stop the Netherrealm's plan to take over the Outworld. The thing is, Netherrealm was actually trying to finesse its way into Outworld in order to eventually rule over it. And they did this by using Outworld's native Kafala Warlocks.
Ermac?
The Kafala Warlocks were Outworld's premier magic users. As such, they were in a position
That makes
to
sense.
influence
Okay,
and
so
manipulate
Ermac,
the
magic
various petty
user,
kingdoms
Quan
within the realm,
Chi.
all to seed chaos and dissent. The plan was to eventually soften up Outworld enough to allow Nether.
Speaking of the 9th tournament, most of the Outworld combatants never changed. Raiden locked the fuck in with your champions. Oh, Raiden lock the fuck in with your champions. Where was the game plan? Yeah, Raiden basically was like, "Hey, we're gonna thug it out. I'm gonna bring welcome Earthrealm. You are chosen as a champion, and you're gonna be in Mortal Kombat because we got someone named Shao Kahn that's been running a train for like 9 years for 9 wins straight, and now this could be his 10th win, and he could take over Earthrealm. So we're gonna raw dog it, and I'm gonna just take you, and we're gonna beat Shao Kahn. You in? Oh, too bad. You don't have a choice. That's basically how it went down. That sounds like the most shittiest game plan ever.
Realm to take over their dimension. But before that could happen, the Kafala Warlocks and Netherrealm schemes were exposed by Onaga. This resulted in the extinction of the Kafala Warlock Order. It happened just in the nick of time too, as Netherrealm had already sent out its invading army to Outworld by this point. Knowing the threat at hand, Onaga managed to rally the various independent kingdoms and tribes of
Onaga
Outworld
was already on
to
demon
mount a
time.
counteroffensive
Jesus.
against Netherrealm's forces, and it ultimately worked.
The only notable combatant from Earthrealm that even got close after 1,000 years was the Great Kung Lao, which makes sense because like Kung Lao and Kung Lao, yeah, no, Kung Lao was literally a sleeper, like a sleeping goat, dude. Kung Lao was always a sleeper. That's why like I fucked with like when I started playing MK9, that's when I started fucking with Kung Lao a bit more because obviously I was fucking with Cyrax, Smoke, Scorpion, mainly Smoke in mainly Smoke and Cyrax, and then Kung Lao was like my sleeper choice. But yeah, like wow.
NetherRealm's plans to rule over...
Wait, what? Raiden, why are all your champions bums? So basically, off rip, Raiden was just not a good god. He was basically a shitty protector, which is very bad. Wow.
Outworld failed, and they were driven back by Onaga's newly unified Outworld Kingdom. The Dragon King didn't stop there, because let's not forget, he's still an Outworlder, and Outworlders aren't the good guys. After defeating NetherRealm's army, Onaga the Dragon King went on his conquest that allowed Outworld to extend itself far beyond its borders. With the help of his...
To avoid confusion, I'll address the Great Kung Lao as Kung Lao, the first. Oh, that's right. Were there actually multiple Kung Laos? Because obviously from every game that was released, they never established that, unless I was illiterate and I didn't read. Excuse me.
Loyal army and an artifact called Onaga's Heart, which had the ability to bring the dead back to life. Onaga had an unlimited
bring the dead back to life. So this nigga literally had resurrection.
Still, this was not enough for the Dragon King, because in his heart, Onaga had one unrelenting dream: to become immortal. However, this dream maybe wasn't as crazy as you'd think. You see, when the universe and the realms were young, the dragons were legitimately immortal. On top of that, they towered over other species in the various realms, and their race possessed powers that were almost incomprehensible to mere mortals. However, as the ages passed, the dragon race's bloodline became diluted. Gradually, they became more and more assimilated into the universe, which ultimately weakened their powers and turned their once immortal race into long-lived but all too mortal creatures. So, Onaga wanted to become immortal to pretty much turn himself into the OG dragon. That is to say, to allow him to become as close to the original version of what his race once represented. To do this, the Dragon King commanded his minions to perform a ritual that would allow his soul to enter the unborn dragon of pure blood inside the last known dragon egg. Witnessing all of this, the Elder Gods feared that Onaga's ambitions might tip the balance between the realms. Not only that, but
Kung Lao the First was the first and only Earthrealm combatant before the 10th tournament to get all the way to the end and face Goro. So Liu Kang was literally not the MC at that point. It was mainly Kung Lao. Damn, alright, bet.
They also noticed how much of a threat to the Elder Gods themselves Onaga has become. So, before the ritual that would put Onaga's soul inside the dragon egg could be completed,
hey, it's Husky's favorite game, friggin' Armageddon.
Greatest general, Shao Kahn, to be the new guardian of Outworld. Of course, Shao Kahn had goals of his own. In spite of the fact that he was a loyal servant to Onaga, Shao Kahn had been aspiring to replace
it's
the
not Shao, it's Shao.
How do you? Quite some time.
Oh, that
so
upsets me.
It did not take long for Shao Kahn to eventually make his move and poison Onaga, which then allowed him to cement his place as Outworld's new ruler. The difference is that Shao Kahn didn't exactly share the same aptitude for dominion that Onaga possessed during his lifetime. Whereas the Dragon King managed to unite all the petty kingdoms of Outworld under one banner, Shao Kahn was only successful in seizing power and nothing more. That is to say, Outworld once again became a collection of independent tribes, which ultimately led to another age of perpetual war and chaos.
Armageddon. Oh yeah, man. Armageddon is. I feel Armageddon is literally the big fucking endgame. Well, before they reset the timeline.
And get back everything that was taken from him. However, despite Outworld being in chaos, Shao Kahn's forces were strong and formidable enough to conquer other realms similar to what Onaga had done. Now, one particular major realm that Shao Kahn absolutely had the hots for was Edenia. So, after Shao Kahn and his Outworlder lackeys managed to win 10 consecutive Mortal Kombat tournaments against Edenia, Shao Kahn was finally ready to get his hands on this realm. Although Edenia had initial successes in fending off the invaders, Shao Kahn would ultimately have his way with the realm. In the end, Outworld would come out on top and formally turn Edenia into its colony. And just to add insult to injury, Shao Kahn would not only take out Jared, the king of Edenia, by his own hand, but the Outworlder Emperor would also claim Jared's wife, Sindel, as his own queen. The hits don't stop there either, as Shao Kahn would also adopt Sindel and Jared's young daughter, Princess Kitana. Kitana would grow up thinking that Shao Kahn was her real father and would pretty much serve as Shao Kahn's personal elite assassin. Somewhere else, an entirely different threat was creeping in the MK universe. You see, there was once an elder god named Shinnok, who, unlike his colleagues, had aspirations that went beyond just overseeing the realms. Shinnok was a rebellious elder god who wanted something all to himself, and the object of his obsession was none other than Earthrealm. As such, Shinnok had one desire in his heart: to be Earthrealm's one and only ruler. However, Shinnok was also well aware that any elder god attempting to tip the balance of the universe, much less straight up entering one of the realms, is equal to treason. He knew that the other elder gods would instantly know what he was up to should he try and pay Earthrealm a visit. So, to fix the problems that came with this rule, Shinnok created for himself an artifact, a powerful amulet created specifically to augment his already fearsome powers. He then softened up the barriers separating the realms and promptly began his conquest
Shinnok basically
of Earthrealm.
abused the shit
As
out of
you'd
his
expect,
power.
A war ensued between Shinnok and his fellow elder gods. Not only that, but the guardian of Earthrealm, Raiden, bitterly opposed Shinnok's unholy mission. So the war between Shinnok and Raiden raged, and when it reached its inevitable climax, Raiden had a difficult choice to make. Either he'd save Earthrealm from Shinnok's clutches in exchange for the lives of the Saurians, who were in Earthrealm, or Raiden could choose to preserve the Saurians' lives, but they'd end up as slaves to Shinnok. In the end, Raiden made a hard call and chose to sacrifice Earthrealm's inhabitants to stop the mad Elder God.
Wow.
He
straight up said, sorry, Earth, I gotta stop the god, I
amulet.
guess.
And for the disgrace he had brought upon their race, the other Elder Gods revoked Shinnok's status as part of their ranks. Finally, Shinnok was exiled to the deepest bowels of the Netherrealm, where he was damned to remain for all eternity.
So that's typical
It was a victory
fucking...
for Raiden,
Yeah,
the
that's
Elder Gods,
alright.
and
Yep.
Order in general. But it came at a high cost. For one, Earthrealm's native species, the
Reptile?
Saurians, were nearly wiped out from existence.
I actually have
More
Reptile,
concerning
the
was
original
fact that
Reptile as a
Shinnok
cosplay.
had permanently
I actually have
weakened
all
the
three. I
barriers
have
protecting
Reptile,
each realm from one another.
Sub-Zero, and
For a
Scorpion. I
time,
just haven't
Shinnok would be
cosplayed
a
Scorpion
prisoner
yet.
within the Netherrealm, and while there, Netherrealm's ruler himself, Lucifer, meted out unimaginable horrors on the disgraced Elder God. All hope was lost for Shinnok until, as if by chance or fate, he came face to face with a native sorcerer from the Netherrealm named Quan Chi. You see, Quan Chi had this seemingly unique ability to jump from one realm to the next as he pleased.
I
And
mean,
like
we already
Shinnok
saw the
himself,
severed head, my
Quan
guy.
Chi was also quite an ambitious sorcerer. From there, Shinnok and Quan Chi would form a partnership. Together, they would mount a rebellion against Netherrealm, effectively dethroning Lucifer and allowing Shinnok to take this dimension for his own. Meanwhile, he showed his gratitude to Quan Chi by gifting him with more supernatural powers. In addition to that, Quan Chi was also appointed as Netherrealm's arch-sorcerer within this new unholy regime. Still, the Netherrealm was far from the consolation prize that Shinnok had wanted. In fact, one could even say that he was taking no consolation prizes, because he only had one goal in mind: Earthrealm, and he would stop at nothing until it was finally his. Mortal Kombat Mythologies, Sub-Zero. In the following years,
Oh,
Outworld
Lord!
pretty much
That game is straight buns. Like, I have not seen anyone beat this game. The last person I saw play this game was literally Dashi. Shout out to Dashi. He was playing Sub-Zero, he was playing Mortal Kombat Mythology Sub-Zero, which they won't. I would have been like, look, if we're gonna remake Mortal Kombat Mythology, make the mechanics better. Because I don't know how people had the mentality to finish that game. I've never met anyone who beat the game. I've never seen anyone beat the game. Oh, Lord. Game was trash.
established a dynasty within the Mortal Kombat tournament. Its champion, the Shokan warrior known as Goro, has reigned over the contest for centuries,
oh god,
racking up victory after victory for his native dimension. which in turn brought Outworld closer
Jax.
to taking over Earthrealm. In fact, one of Goro's most notable victories in the MK
Mythologies
tournament
has story
came
with
when he
terrible
took out
gameplay.
Earthrealm's
Oh yeah,
champion,
I
the
agree.
great Kung Lao, some 4
Kung
centuries prior to
Lao.
the start of the series. And if that wasn't enough, the Outworlder
Shang
sorcerer
Tsung?
Shang Tsung added insult to injury by
Shang Tong? It's Shang Tsung. Shang Tsung. It even says it in the game. There's no way you mispronounce that.
trapping the great Kung Lao's soul after his defeat. Gaining hold of the great Kung Lao's soul allowed Shang
Your
Tsung
soul
to
is
eventually
mine.
discover the whereabouts of an artifact called the Map of Elements, which pinpoints the exact location of Shinnok's powerful amulet. This information allowed Shang Tsung to come to an agreement with Shinnok's right-hand man, Quan Chi. Specifically, Shang Tsung wanted to resurrect the late wife of Shao Kahn, Sindel. A bargain was struck and Shang Tsung would hand over the location of the Map of Elements to Quan Chi. However, upon reaching the artifact, Quan Chi also found out that the map was guarded by elementals, which prevented him from coming into contact with it. Knowing that there was no way he could acquire the artifact
So
directly,
basically,
Quan Chi came up
as
with
we're
the idea
jumping
to
into
send a
mythology,
human into the
Sub-Zero was
temple that
basically
housed
the
Map
OG
of
hero?
Elements, have them defeat the
At least from this
Guardians,
arc?
and ultimately retrieve the map for them. And so, we move the clock forward to just before the events of the first chronological Mortal Kombat game. In the series'
Okay,
first
so
ever
mythology took
chronological
place
tale,
before the
we
first
discover
one.
that Quan Chi hired a human warrior named Sub-Zero to retrieve the Map of Elements for him.
The first
Now,
Sub-Zero, right? This is the
whose
original
real
Sub-Zero.
name is Bi-Han,
Because I know there was
belonged to a clan of warriors
Bi-Han,
known as the Lin Kuei. Unknown to him, Quan
Bi-Han,
Chi
and then there was
hedged
another
his
Sub-Zero,
bets and
like,
decided
later
to
down the
hire
line.
another party to retrieve the powerful artifact in case Sub-Zero himself failed to do so. This other guy happens to be Hanzo Hasashi, aka Scorpion. Now, Scorpion was also part of a formidable warrior clan called the Shirai Ryu, which happened to be the Sub-Zero clan's rivals.
Ronda Rousey.
Eventually, Sub-Zero and Scorpion would cross paths in the middle of their respective quests to look for the amulet and ultimately come into direct conflict with each other.
Yep,
ensuing
and they
scuffle
became
ended
the
with
ultimate
Bi-Han taking
rivals
Scorpion's life.
till the end of
From
time.
there, Sub-Zero would go through the motions and eventually obtain the Map of Elements, and then hand it over to Quan Chi. Pleased with his work, Quan Chi rewarded Sub-Zero by eliminating any and all Shirai Ryu clan members. Unknown to them, Scorpion's soul was still active somewhere in the
That's
Netherrealm,
Ermac.
and after catching wind of what had happened to his clan, Scorpion wanted revenge, with his main target being Sub-Zero himself. As for Sub-Zero, Quan Chi would then hire him for another task. This time, the warrior was tasked with following the Map of Elements, and finally retrieving Shinnok's amulet. Eventually, Sub-Zero would do a bang-up job yet again, and secure the amulet.
Yeah, and yet
Quan
the
Chi
game
would
was
then reveal the
horrible.
true purpose of the amulet when
The
Sub-Zero
game was so
handed it to him.
bad.
The short of it is that Shinnok needs the amulet to be able to travel to and from the Netherrealm as he pleases. On top of that, the amulet also allows Shinnok to take control of any realm he desires. Things seem to be taking a turn for the darker at that point. But then, Shinnok's old rival and Earthrealm's guardian, Raiden,
Oh, sorry, thank
appeared
you for
just
correcting
in
me.
time to intervene.
For the Lin Kuei.
After reprimanding Sub-Zero for pretty much
Oh,
being
this
Quan
guy.
Chi's lackey, Raiden managed to convince him to fix the damage that his actions had done. From there, Sub-Zero would be sent to the Netherrealm and eventually become a prisoner. In his cell, he'd get to meet Scorpion
God,
once
that
again.
fit is so
Scorpion
good,
would
dude.
try to tussle with Sub-Zero, but he'd fail to put an end to his rival during this encounter. Eventually, Sub-Zero escaped the Netherrealm's prison and went after Quan Chi. Prior to reaching the sorcerer,
Yeah,
however,
so Quan Chi was basically a
Sub-Zero
piece of
had
shit.
to contend with Quan Chi's elite guards. He took all 3 of them out, but he spared the life of the guard named Serena. It was a good call.
Serena
too, as
was a-
Serena would
was
help
a,
Sub-Zero
was
take
a
down Quan Chi shortly after.
Sidekick
not
in
where this tale ends, though, As
MK1.
Shinnok would finally reveal himself to
Damn, she
Sub-Zero
kind of bad
after
though. I ain't
Quan
gonna
Chi's
lie.
fall.
Oh, never mind. She's
The
dead.
disgraced Elder God then took Serena's life, which effectively banished her soul deep
I
Earthrealm
mean,
with Raiden's help.
I don't know who.
Then,
I don't
a
know
big twist
who in their right
comes
mind would
when
say
we
Quan Chi is
discover that the
handsome. I would have looked
amulet
at you
Sub-Zero took
weird,
from
like the
Shinnok
hell.
was actually a fake. In truth, Quan Chi on Earth, Sub-Zero would
I
return
know for a fact I never played
for
Serena in
Sub-Zero,
Deception,
and it's for an event
but I do
called
remember
Mortal
playing
Kombat.
Deception.
And with that, we finally get to the story of the first ever Mortal Kombat game.
There
released
we
in
go, finally.
1992.
So we went. So it started
we've
from
already-
mythologies, and now we're in Mortal Kombat 1 that was released in 1992, where it took place of where basically the 10th Mortal Kombat tournament was about to happen, and Shao Kahn was already running a train on everyone.
Mentioned, this particular MK tournament happens
Who is my
at a
MK
time
main?
when
My MK main, it goes like this. Smoke, Cyrax, Scorpion, Johnny Cage, Melina. Those are my top 5. Those are the top 5 people I use for sure.
Goro, the powerful
No! What is this?
Outworlder Prince, has managed
There we
to
go.
rise
Sorry,
through the
I don't know
ranks and
what that
become
was.
its
I was jump
reigning
scared, sorry.
champion for 9 consecutive events. Now, if you remember, the Elder
Noob
Gods made it so
Saibot?
that any round
I already
that
hate you
manages
because you
to
use
win 10
Ermac.
consecutive NK
I say that,
tournaments.
okay, I say this because my homie, Skullmageddon, you know, WKW star, his Ermac pisses me off. Like, nasty. It pisses me off bad to where I just don't want to play the game anymore. He's too good with Ermac. For me, it depends on the game. Yeah, I mean, for me, those are my top 5. Those are my top 5.
Would be allowed to take over the realm that they've defeated. And in about half a millennium of Mortal Kombat, Outworld was just one single tournament away from taking control
No,
of
seriously.
Earthrealm. To further put things in perspective, the events of this game happen approximately 2 years after the events of Mortal Kombat Mythology's Sub-Zero. Now,
Okay,
the
this
first
happened
MK
2
game
years
is,
after.
for all intents and purposes, what opened up our world to this whole fictional universe. It introduced characters who would each go on to become icons in their own right.
Honestly,
such
Aaron
as
Black
Sonya
is
Blade,
honestly
Johnny Cage, and
underrated,
Kano,
in my opinion.
just to name a few. But perhaps the central figure of this story, the closest thing we have to a primary protagonist, is none other than the Shaolin warrior,
Liu Kang.
As Mortal Kombat canon goes, Liu Kang participated in the Mortal Kombat tournament with the specific goal of preventing
Aaron Black's
from
underrated,
grabbing
in my
his 10th
opinion.
consecutive title. The long and short of it is that Liu Kang is the so-called chosen one. Of course, not everyone joined this competition for that reason. For example, Scorpion participated in this contest with one mission: to get his hands on Sub-Zero as retribution for his clan. Another notable participant in this tournament was Raiden himself. If you remember, gods are generally forbidden from entering the tournament, but there's a loophole that allows them to join as long as a
Yes,
god
I
takes on
actually
a
got
mortal form.
my schedule for this
Well,
week. I don't work
Raiden
tomorrow,
did
so
just
I'm
that
definitely
after
going to be
a
able to
bit of
watch it.
prodding from Shang Tsung.
Let me see. MK9, I main Scorpion and Johnny. MKX, I main Scorpion and Takeda. In 11, I main Jax and Liu. Ooh. Did you see the brackets? I have not seen the brackets yet because, like, one, I got home from work at, like, 3:30. I got off work at 3:30. I took a breather, and then I got ready to do the stream that we were talking about for the past 2 days. And now we basically have a new segment called Council Talk.
When all was said and done, Liu Kang ended up as this Mortal Kombat tournament's champ after taking out all the opponents in front of him, specifically both Goro and Shang Tsung. This
Ew,
turn of
Goro,
events then
don't say it
effectively
like that.
prevented
It's
Outworld
Goro.
from taking over Earthrealm. Make no mistake though, this is far from happily ever after. In fact, this was just the beginning of a saga that crosses the boundaries of space and time. Mortal Kombat 2. Anyways, not
Oh, wow,
long
okay,
after
we're jumping
that,
to the second one.
Shang Tsung would retreat to his native realm, Outworld, and give his master, Shao Kahn,
Ooh,
the
nice
bad
kick to the
news.
gut, bruh. That's
Of
crazy.
course, Shao Kahn did not take kindly to this. So in true Outworld fashion, Shao Kahn was just about ready to give his sorcerer underling the death sentence. However, Shang Tsung used his wits to try and prevent this from happening. To be specific, Shang Tsung went on to convince Shao Kahn that they could still get what they wanted using the Mortal Kombat tournament. Shang Tsung then goes on to explain that he believes he only lost because Liu Kang had a home court advantage. So Shang Tsung decided.
How? How do you get a home court advantage, dog? You're literally fighting on plain field. Just because you're in Earthrealm, that doesn't mean people in Earthrealm get a home court advantage. He beat your ass. Crazy style. Just take the L, dog.
decided to propose the next MK tournament to be held.
You know what characters I wish we could see a comeback of? Which characters?
Within Outworld instead. This way, they'd have a home court advantage, which will ensure their victory. In any case, whether the home court was actually a problem or not, Shao Kahn would approve of this proposal. In turn, he'd allow Shang Tsung to reclaim his powers to organize this upcoming event.
Oh my god,
On
that
the other
move was
hand,
so
Raiden
OP
would
to
eventually
you.
be notified of this and would gather Earthrealm's champions, made up primarily.
See, it's funny how you bring up Taven. I brought this up the last two streams that people, when we were talking about Mortal Kombat, I straight up said Taven should have made a comeback and became playable in MK1, because in Mortal Kombat Armageddon, honestly, it was a good story to an extent, but Taven was a good character. Taven should have made a comeback, but Ed Boon. By the way, the second tournament was completely optional, and Raiden accepted on behalf of everyone. And then let me guess, everyone was like, "What do you mean on behalf? Who's everyone? Who's we?"
Primarily of previous participants in the tournament, like Sonya Blade, Johnny Cage, and the reigning champ, Liu Kang. Fast forward to the next tournament, same as before, Liu Kang would win, and this time he won the whole thing in an even grander fashion, as he took out not only Shao Kahn
Bicycle
himself,
kick!
but even the extremely powerful centaur-like warrior, Kintaro. In addition to that, this
Kintaro?
particular tournament also saw Edenia finally freeing itself from Outworld's rule, which then effectively allowed it to become an independent realm after
The second tournament... Oh, wait, I did not read this. Yeah, and he was the main character. Exactly, he was the main character, yeah. Surprised he has never come back yet. Well, since we're having a council discussion about Mortal Kombat, I'm pretty sure we're gonna find out why. The second tournament was basically Shao saying, "Run it back, and if you win, I'll leave forever, but if I win, I get Earth now." Raiden could have just said no. Literally! Oh my god. So far, Raiden's a fucking joke, dude.
millennia of being ruled by a foreign dimension. And this was all thanks to the efforts of Princess Kitana. You see,
dude, Havoc became like my oh, that's so AI generated. I hate that.
Which then
I hate that.
Her to be
oh lord, I hated that. Anywho, nah, dude, Havoc became like my new favorite character. I actually need to add him to the list. Those are my top 6. The moment I tried out Havoc, I was like, I love how he plays. It's over. I love his combo, so I was like, yeah, Havoc's gonna be in my top 6. Hell yeah.
betray Shao Kahn and make moves to restore Edenia to its former glory. On a side note, we also discover that Shao Kahn created this twisted family dynamic back when he was taking care of Kitana by introducing her to a supposed twin sister named Mileena.
I'm sorry, but like, Mileena. Oh, when my girlfriend cosplayed Mileena, dude. Oh man, I loved it. Loved it. Out of the twins, I love Mileena. I guess I like crazy chicks, I guess. Just don't touch me with that mouth, but that's fine, you know?
Truth though, Mileena was just a clone that Shang Tsung created based on Kitana's essence.
Yeah, Havoc is always on Demon Time.
Weird.
I was so happy when they... Oh, okay, I already read that.
In another interesting twist, Mortal Kombat 2 also gives us further developments in Sub-Zero and Scorpion's ongoing rivalry. As it turns out, Scorpion was able to actually kill Sub-Zero back in the tournament that happened prior to this one.
I don't fuck with Rain that much. He's cool, don't get me wrong, but like, nah, he wasn't someone I wanted to use, or I could use. But Rain's pretty cool, I love his designs.
Mortal Kombat 3. Back to Shao Kahn.
Alright, here we go, we're on 3.
He wasn't happy that his realm took another consecutive L. You see, the dude really wanted the Earth realm for himself.
Crazy Chick Scarlet? Oh, no, you're weird.
In order to gain
not
control
weird.
of it.
No, it's not that you're weird. You're brave. Because I only know a little bit about Scarlet, and I played Scarlet in MK9, and I'm like, oh, all right, maybe I don't like crazy chicks that much.
This entire plan hinges on the resurrection of his late partner and queen, Sindel. But as with most things in the Mortal Kombat universe, there was a lot of fine print involved here. To be specific, Shao Kahn's scheme involved bringing Sindel back to life within Earthrealm. That's because a technicality within the rules states that doing this would allow Shao Kahn to travel to Earthrealm. So Shao Kahn springs his plan and Sindel gets resurrected within Earthrealm. Of course, Shao Kahn went through the motions and traveled to the same dimension under the guise of fetching his formerly dead wife. But in truth, this particular chain of events actually allowed Outworld to absorb Earthrealm. Simply put, Earthrealm effectively became ruled over by Shao Kahn and his native dimension. The moment Outworld's attack began, billions of innocent Earthrealm civilians had their souls absorbed by the invaders. However, in a last-ditch effort to salvage Earthrealm and free it from Outworld's rule, Raiden used
Rain is like the John Morrison of MK ninja characters. Looks cool, cool attacks, but severely underrated and underappreciated. No, I respect that. Elder Gods didn't. Yeah, I was about to say, I'm like, did they? That was gonna be my next question. I'm like, did the Elder Gods do anything? Fuck no, they didn't. Oh my god, we're barely in the third installment of Mortal Kombat in this story, and from what I could talk about now, fuck Raiden and fuck the Elder Gods, because they didn't do anything. Oh my god. Oh my god, if Mortal Kombat was real, dude, we would have been fucked. We would have been done. Like, are you kidding? I would not, I can't, like, as cool as Raiden is, I can't trust him, dude. I can't trust him with my life. I'm gonna be real. I'm gonna be honest. I cannot trust him. The fact that he literally could have said no, but he straight up said, nah, let's run it back. And it's like, what do you mean we are running it back? Raiden, you could have just said no. She also played Nightwolf. She also played Nightwolf as well. Nightwolf is pretty cool. I don't really mess with him that much, but like he was fun to play. Man, how could I forget one of my goats? Shao literally violates the rules of Mortal Kombat, and the Elder Gods sit there with their dicks in their hands. No, that's what I'm saying. I'm like, why did you guys not do anything? Why did you guys not do anything? So, as far as I'm concerned, these gods ain't shit. There ain't shit. Hold on, I'm gonna try to darken the room a little bit. Like, deadass, they ain't shit, dude. This is crazy. They fix it kinda in the new timeline. Timeline though, horrible wording by the Elder Gods. Basically saying the MK tournament doesn't stop Shao from directly invading Earth, but he can't annex it. When they brought Cabal back, I was hyped as fuck. No, Cabal's nasty, dude. If you know how to use him, oh, he's nasty.
his abilities to help a few select champions retain their souls in order to mount a counteroffensive against Shao Kahn and his forces. And if you thought that Liu Kang would be part of this, then you're absolutely right. In fact, as with the two prior mainline MK games in the series, Liu Kang would act as the main guy for this particular chapter in the story as well. Specifically, Shao Kahn would catch wind that Liu Kang and a few other warriors survived, so he would send out Outworlder hit squads to hunt all of them. On the other hand, Liu Kang would prove that he's an absolute problem for Outworld by defeating each and every assailant thrown at him. Liu Kang would also strike a friendship with another Earthrealm champion named Kung Lao. Now, if you guys recall, there was already a Kung Lao in the MK universe prior to the events of the game. However, this Kung Lao happens to be the descendant of the Great Kung Lao. In any case, Liu Kang and Kung Lao would spearhead Earthrealm's resistance forces against Shao Kahn and his Outworld army. Eventually, in one of those battles, Kung Lao would lose his life, which would make Liu Kang all the more determined to finally take out Shao Kahn. And guess what? Liu Kang was actually able to do it and defeat the Outworld Emperor, saving Earthrealm yet again. On top of that, Liu Kang and the Edenian Princess Kitana would have a blooming romance by the end of this particular chapter. It was also during this period when Kitana would be able to reunite with her mom, Sindel. As for
and then we have the famous line in the N64 version, but I thought you were gonna
Sindel herself, the newly resurrected queen would ultimately betray Shao Kahn and side with Earthrealm and its champions. After all, she didn't even want to be Shao Kahn's in the first place. Meanwhile, Sub-Zero's Lin Kuei clan started becoming extra shady all of a sudden. You see, the Lin Kuei clan...
Wait, did you say Lin Kuei? It's Lin Kuei! Oh man, this announcer's pissed me off.
...wanted to create the perfect warrior, and they believed that this could only be achieved by turning their greatest assassins into mindless cyborgs. Now, the Lin Kuei clan had these big four assassins.
Oh, that's making me cringe.
Smoke, Cyrax, and Sector. Sub-Zero and Smoke weren't on board with this plan, so the two broke away from their clan. Sadly, Smoke soon got captured by the clan and turned into a mindless robotic version of himself. On the other hand, Sub...
Oh yeah, so that's how Smoke became a robot. They went their separate ways, and then they're like, kill him. And then they killed Smoke, and then Smoke turned into a robot, which makes sense now.
Zero successfully fended off Clan's attempts at bringing him back into their fold. And even better, Sub-Zero would ultimately find himself siding with Liu Kang and the other Earthrealm resistance fighters to put a stop to Shao Kahn's plans. And then there are Sonya Blade and Jax. Their respective stories prior to Mortal Kombat 3 revolved around the two being a couple of soldier types who found themselves participating in the MK tournament as a way to bring in the criminal Kano, who also participated in the context. However, in Mortal Kombat
you mean
3,
the guy that looks like
Sonya
Austin
and
Aries in
Jax would plant the
MK11?
seeds of what would eventually become the MK Universe's very own interdimensional government task force, the OIA, also known as the Outworld Investigation Agency. It's a government agency made specifically to thwart any threats from Outworld
the Mortal Kombat
or
games with
any
Jax?
other realm with plans of taking over the Earth. Mortal Kombat
Freaking
4.
horrible.
With the threat of Outworld Shao Kahn now a thing of the past, you'd think the Mortal Kombat universe would finally have the breather it deserves. But you'd be dead wrong, as the one and only fallen Elder God, Shinnok, would re-emerge during this period. As before, Shinnok had one goal, the complete and total domination of any and all realms that he could get his hands on.
This animation
On
is
top of that, Shinnok was absolutely hankering for some payback against Raiden and all the other Elder Gods who banished him from their ranks. A stroke of good fortune came upon Shinnok when Tanya, an Edenian warrior, betrayed her own realm and allied herself with the fallen Elder God. This inevitably led to Shinnok successfully capturing Edenia and adding it to his domain. Of course, the scummy, disgraced Elder God wasn't done. There was still the matter of his revenge. However, Raiden would mount a counter-offensive against Shinnok before he could complete his plans. Like in the past, the Thunder God would gather Earthrealm's finest warriors to take the fight to the fallen Elder God. And as always, it was up to our boy Liu Kang to bicycle kick the snot out of Shinnok and prevent him from bringing total chaos to the MK universe. Meanwhile, Sub-Zero and Scorpion's feud continued to rage during this period. In particular, Shinnok's right-hand man, Quan Chi, would trick Sub-Zero into believing that Scorpion eradicated the entire Lin Kuei clan.
During MK4 and the Netherrealm invasion, Raiden leaves Earth to become an Elder God. So he straight up said, and then became a god. All right, bet.
Which added even more fuel to their bitter rivalry. Sub-Zero would eventually manage to defeat Scorpion, but Quan Chi would intervene in the stupidest way possible.
Dude, that scene is so fucking funny because it just comes out of nowhere. It's like, oh, you'll never defeat me, blah, blah, blah. You might have defeated my mortal form, but I'm an entity. I'm always gonna come back. And then Quan Chi fucking slaps the... Quan Chi literally said... And then smacked this shit. Oh my god. Oh god, it's great.
That is to
love
say,
it. I
the
love it.
sorcerer would reveal to both Sub-Zero and Scorpion that he was just using the two warriors for his own ends. Not to worry though, because Scorpion would promptly take out the dastardly sorcerer. And even better,
Jesus!
Would clear the air
He straight levitated him and said
for the time
combust.
being. Somewhere else, Sonya and Jax would come across Cyrax, one of the elite Lin Kuei warriors, who was turned into a cybernetic assassin. So Sonya and Jax would undo the brainwashing that the Lin Kuei clan did to Cyrax,
Lin Kuei!
which effectively allowed him to
He's a
regain
nigga!
his
Sorry.
identity. And from there, Cyrax would join the Outworld
Honestly,
Investigation Agency.
the fact that
Then there was Kung Lao.
the fact that Cyrax they basically said, let's have Cyrax black. I ain't even gonna lie. I thought that was just a concept in MK9. I didn't know he was originally a black ninja, which is actually pretty cool. Hey man, there's always, as you can tell, there's always been diversity. Jax wasn't the only black man. There was Cyrax.
Who was revealed to be alive and well after the events of Mortal Kombat 3. As it turns out,
What the
Kung
fuck
Lao
are those pink
faked his own
ninjas? The
death
fuck?
so that he could be a pacifist. However, now that Shinnok was in the picture once again, Kung Lao ended up joining the fray once more. As for Raiden, his efforts in taking down Shinnok would be rewarded by the Elder Gods. To be specific, The primordial deities pretty much promoted Raiden from being a regular god to a bona fide elder god himself. Although this was a great promotion for Raiden, this meant that he was no longer the assigned guardian of Earthrealm. That position would now be filled with Raiden's brother, Fujin, the god of wind. And so we arrive at a pivotal point in the
Mortal Kombat 5 Deadly Alliance. All right. Now we're getting juicy.
In this one, we find out that Scorpion wasn't quite done with Quan Chi just yet. After absolutely decking him during their last encounter, the evil sorcerer would find himself being pursued by Scorpion in the bowels of the Netherrealm. Unexpectedly, this allowed Quan Chi to uncover a tomb containing the mummified remains of Outworld's most powerful army, the one belonging to none other than Onaga, the Dragon King.
Oh, and this, okay, so this is when Onaga comes to play
army
now.
Was made up of undying warriors. There was one catch though. Each of the soldiers within its ranks had to have a soul. And given that Quan Chi knows exactly who specializes in stealing souls within the MK universe, he'd approach Shang Tsung and form, well, a deadly alliance with him, all in the hopes of conquering everything using Onaga's undying army. Their first order of business was to take out the two soul beings.
Okay, yeah, no, when it goes live, I could definitely do a live reaction.
Shang Tsung believed could stop their pesky schemes, namely Shao Kahn and Liu Kang. So the two dastardly villains made their way to Outworld to deal with Shao Kahn first. Now, think of them as you will, but Quan Chi and Shang Tsung actually created a really smart plan here. Instead of tag teaming him, Quan Chi and Shang Tsung deceived Shao Kahn into thinking that they'd sworn allegiance to him. The two would then assassinate Shao Kahn right after that. Problem solved.
Okay, hold on. This is what I need to try to figure the fuck out. How in the fuck did Shao Kahn lack that much to where Quan Chi and Shang Tsung were able to jump his ass off rip right there? That's what I'm trying to figure out, because from what I know now, this marks the first time Shao Kahn died, correct? But my thing is, again, how were they able to pull that off right in front of his face? Shao Kahn lacked so goddamn hard. Now watch Liu get his chain snatched. I believe he is 2 or 3 hours ahead of you. And he does his shows at like noon to 1 p.m. my time. Not Shao, a body double. Wait, so the first death is the body double? Oh god, I hate it already. This is pissing me off. Actually, the third... The story... Shao Kahn is already... See, the fact that Shao Kahn has already pissed me off from the get-go, but now with... Alright. I'm gonna relax. Let it play through. Okay, I just need... Because I know if I wake up at 9, I'm pretty sure I'll be ready to watch the show. So my thing is, I just need to know the actual time, so that from my time, that way I can watch it from the beginning. Basically, you know what I mean? He turns to stone and blows up an MK3. Oh, okay. What the? But wait, why didn't they show that? They didn't even show that in the third one. Anyways.
With their business in Outworld finished, Quan Chi and Shang Tsung then headed to Earthrealm to deal with
that's a battlefield right there.
Liu Kang. Now keep in mind that Liu Kang has pretty much been the poster boy for the Mortal Kombat universe at this point. So it wouldn't be surprising if we found out that he immediately put Quan Chi and Shang Tsung back during their confrontation. Well, keep on dreaming, because the Mortal Kombat franchise threw everyone a curveball.
Oh yeah, they killed Liu Kang. Shang Tsung fucking snapped his... Yep.
And with that, the reigning bicycle kick throwing fighter has finally met his end. In any case,
and then Liu Kang didn't come back until Armageddon, which he had one of the most sickest freaking designs, in my opinion.
Tricked his former master,
dead Liu Kang looked so badass in Armageddon.
Well, that particular plot point pays off here, as Quan Chi would use the original amulet to help Shang Tsung perform a spell that allowed them to harvest souls and transfer them to each and every soldier in Onaga's army. Of course, Raiden was having none of this. The problem was that he was now forbidden from interfering with the realms, since he was now a bona fide elder god. However, the MK universe would be nothing.
Oh yeah, and by the way, Raiden became a god and literally didn't do shit, by the way. The whole time he was like, I'm an elder god. Meanwhile, Liu Kang literally got his freaking chain snatched, and then he got his Yeezys stolen. And did the elder gods do anything after that? Fuck no, they didn't. God, these guys ain't shit.
For characters finding loopholes in their world's rules. Although Raiden was unable to directly take action against the two sorcerers, he did what he does best. Act like the genius general he is and form yet another
He's not a
team
genius.
made up of Earthrealm's finest warriors. This includes the likes of
Frost.
Sub-Zero, Frost, Sonya, Jax, Kung Lao, Johnny Cage, and Kitana, among others. However, without Liu Kang, Raiden's plan didn't go so well. So brace yourself. In addition to losing the evil sorcerers, many classic heroes from the MK franchise bit the dust during this period. Specifically, Sonya, Kung Lao, Kitana, and Jax would lose their lives in the battle against the so-called Deadly Alliance. On the other hand, Raiden, being the
so
softy
everyone
that he
got
was, decided
fucking
it was time to
yeeted.
get back into the fray. So he resigned his post as an elder god and pretty much demoted himself back to regular god status.
Sorry. So what was the point of becoming a god when you basically figured this shit would happen? Oh my god, Raiden, you are so dumb. You are so dumb, Raiden. The fact that you were like, oh yeah, I'm gonna become an elder god now. Literally, all the niggas freaking died and got jumped and lost their lives, and now you're like, oh fuck, I don't have my star player. I don't have freaking LeBron. I don't have LeBron. I don't have my freaking Michael Jordan. My Kobe Bryant. I don't even have Stephon Curry, man. I gotta freaking demote myself. Like, my opinion, that was the stupidest move he could have done. He could have stayed the protector, then become an elder god, because you knew you knew he would have to leave the post as a protector. Who else was gonna be the Earth protector? It wasn't gonna be Liu Kang. Because look what happened. Oh, Raiden is becoming a very bad character, dog. Which proves that Liu is the hard carry. Exactly.
allowed him to once again directly participate in matters concerning the MK universe. Mortal Kombat Deception.
And then Deception.
With most of our heroes biting the
MK6.
dust, while others like Frost and Sub-Zero were taken out of commission, it was up to Raiden alone to prevent Shang Tsung and Quan Chi's ultimate plan from coming to fruition. So the Thunder God went the old-fashioned way, challenging the two evil sorcerers in an officially sanctioned Mortal Kombat bout.
Ooh, that was
Raiden
clean.
would fight
I ain't gonna
the
lie.
Deadly Alliance on his own. And although he initially seemed effective, Quan Chi and Shang Tsung were just too much for him to handle.
It's
In the
2v1,
end,
dummy.
Raiden was taken down like all the other Earthrealm defenders. However, in an interesting twist, Quan Chi and Shang Tsung proved that they're both just evil scumbags, and they would actually turn against each other. This happened because Shang Tsung wanted Shinnok's amulet for
Shang Tsung was
himself
laying them
without the need for a
haymakers.
middleman like Quan Chi. But as always, Shang Tsung bit off more than he could chew, and Quan Chi ended up handing him his butt.
Oh,
Quan
damn,
Chi's
he just
problems
choked him
weren't
out and
over
just
just
snapped
yet,
his neck.
because as soon as he defeated Shang Tsung,
Oh, yep.
none other than
Obafemi.
the Dragon King
He's
emerged
like,
from
alright,
his
my
tomb,
nigga.
fully
I'm about to wrap this
Even
up.
worse, Shang Tsung and Quan Chi's efforts to revive Onaga's army were successful.
Been a bum.
But forgot one important thing, that these soldiers were loyal to the Dragon King by default.
Yes.
So, just like that, Quan Chi didn't
Bro,
just
Onaga
lose his partner
was
in
literally
crime,
the
but also
Obafemi in
lost
this
his
freaking
entire fighting
storyline
force.
right now.
Now,
Wait, what the
seeing
fuck?
how much of a threat Onaga is,
Wait, I thought he
Quan Chi,
died.
Shang Tsung and Raiden would form an unlikely alliance to end the Dragon King right then and there. But Onaga was just
Deception.
too much of a problem. As a matter of fact, Raiden would even lose his life when he self-destructs in an attempt to take down the Dragon
He tried to
King
bust a
with him,
Piccolo.
which didn't even work, by the way. Ultimately, Onaga would be the only one left standing.
Yeah,
and
because
would
he's
also
fucking
gain
immortal,
possession
idiot.
of Shinnok's amulet. Now, Onaga has his own designs for the MK universe. Specifically, the Dragon King wanted to locate and acquire each and every one of the Elder Gods' Kamidagu, which he'd then use to summon the One Being. Onaga's primary motive was the absolute annihilation of all existence in the MK universe, since allowing the One Being to return meant that each and every realm had to be melded together. That's because, as we've mentioned at the beginning of this video, the Mortal Kombat universe as we know it was pretty much created out of the One Being's severed parts. Now, although most of our heroes have been brought down, there were still a few remaining champions ready to stand in the Dragon King's way. This included Sub-Zero, Li Mai, Scorpion, Kenshai, and Bo Ray Cho.
Kenshai? It's Kenshi! Oh god, this narrator is pissing me off with these names. Like, I'm pretty sure I missed the name that I didn't freaking understand because the way he said it. Oh my gosh, you powdered donut. Anyways.
Probably have noticed at this point is that the Mortal Kombat franchise...
Raiden blows himself up. Raiden blows himself up and does nothing. Kills Shang and Onaga, face takes it, and it gets the amulet for free. No, for real. He's like, I'm gonna use all my power, and Onaga's like, okay. I'm immortal. Did you fucking forget? Stupid.
Loves fake deaths. After all, you can't just off people's favorite characters, right? So we soon find out that Raiden didn't actually perish when he nuked himself during the battle against Onaga. However, this wasn't...
Wait. So if Raiden basically did not off himself, he didn't explode. I mean, he exploded, but like he just got lost in the rubble. Which Raiden version is this then? This is the same Raiden, right?
The same Raiden from before. This time, he was pissed. Instead of the
so it's the same Raiden, but this Raiden, it's the same Raiden. It's just that he actually got pissed and he was like, "All right, I'm now going to become everyone's problem and become an op." Basically.
This version of the Thunder God was willing to go to extreme lengths to put a stop to his enemies once and for all. On the other hand, Onaga would quickly conquer Edenia with the help of Katana's twin, Melina. And if that wasn't bad enough,
Jade.
Onaga even increased his power by resurrecting everyone who had fallen during the war and turning them into mindless martial arts zombies, including heroes like Sonya, Katana, Jax, and Kung Lao. On the other hand, Raiden, who was now a vengeful, scheming god, would travel to the Netherrealm and resurrect the OG hero of the franchise, Liu Kang.
Dude, like, that design is
That's
sick, though!
Because Liu Kang does come back.
Liu
But his
Kang's
return is
freaking
similar to his other
zombie
fallen
design
friends.
is so
Pretty much,
good!
Liu Kang returned
And
as
yet,
more of an
no one has
evil,
cosplayed that
rage-filled
version.
of
No, I'm
himself
gonna hit
instead
up
of
my
the
friend
hero we all
Brandon,
knew
because
and
he
loved.
cosplays
Now,
he
Liu
cosplays
Kang
regular
might have bitten the dust,
Liu
but
Kang
his
and
soul still hasn't gone
MK1
through
Liu
the other
Kang.
side.
I'm gonna ask him, I'm gonna be
Soon
like, I
discovered
need you
that
to
his soul
cosplay
merged
dead
with the body
Liu
of an
Kang.
outworldly
Please.
warrior named
Changing
Ermac.
everything.
In the middle of all this, we also get introduced to a new main player in the MK universe during this era. A boy who goes by the name Shujinko.
Oh, okay, so when I
But make no
fucking
mistake,
literally wake up,
Shujinko
alright,
is
bet.
as far as you can get from someone like Liu Kang. For one, Shujinko is kind of a gullible dumbass. You see,
Actually, Shujinko's a fucking dumbass. Okay.
I needed an unwitting patsy to help him gather all the Kamidogu and bring back the one being. So he tricked Shujinko into doing this for him by disguising himself as an elder god called Damashi. And just to sweeten the pot, the
Oh wait, I didn't even see this. It doesn't make sense. It just doesn't. No, I agree. Like, dude, now like my thoughts and my thoughts on Raiden has literally flipped. I don't Raiden's a fucking bomb, dude. Thou shalt not mention lame characters such as Shujinko. Shujinko's that bad?
Dragon King would teach Shujinko an ability that allowed him to replicate his opponent's martial arts techniques. Shujinko would then spend his life searching for the Kamidogu. It would take decades, but he'd ultimately gather each and every one of the 6 cosmic artifacts. However, Onaga's plans were quickly interrupted when Shujinko discovered the Dragon King's true intentions. So Shujinko would take it upon himself to bring down Onaga, and he did it all using the same martial arts copy ability he learned from the Dragon King himself. And with that, Onaga is removed from the board, at least for now. Mortal Kombat, Armageddon.
Yeah, the most goated game. I mean, story-wise, it's goated. Everything else, ass. Anyways.
In the far-flung past of the MK universe, way before Liu Kang's first championship in the Mortal Kombat tournament, there lived a god named Argus.
Okay, never mind.
Argus was the most powerful of all the gods in Edenia.
Hey, not gonna lie,
As
Argus
such,
got
he
that
acted
fit
as
though.
the realm's guardian. Aside from him, there was a formidable sorceress who also happened to be Argus' wife, Delia. Now, Delia started having visions of things yet to come for Edenia and all the other realms within the Mortal Kombat universe. In one of her prophecies, Delia saw the coming of an event known as Armageddon, an event that would shake the foundations of the MK universe down to its core. According to this vision, there will come a time when the chosen participants of the Mortal Kombat tournament would acquire so much power that it would inevitably lead to each and every realm's demise. This, in turn, would kickstart the apocalypse. And as you'd expect, it would lead to the end of existence throughout the universe. As such, Delia
So
and
Armageddon was
Argus made
basically
their
the
own
game
moves
that
to stop
reset the
Armageddon.
timeline of
This
MK
included the creation
again.
of a pyramid deep within the Edenia Southlands, as Delia also saw in her visions that this was the same place where the Armageddon
Johnny Cage
prophecy
said,
would begin.
"Fuck you."
Mainly, Argus and Delia had hoped that
And then Cabal said, "Where are you looking?" Oh, and then he got his ass fucking knocked down on the steps.
So Delia spawned a flaming warrior named Blaze, a creature tasked with taking out any Mortal Kombat.
Dude, Liu
that would
Kang
enter
had the
pyramid.
fit,
As a
bro.
result, this would prevent the tournament's participants from actually achieving the great power she foresaw, which should prevent Armageddon from happening. On the other hand, Argus and
I don't like Blaze. I'm telling you right now, I'm not really a fan of Blaze. I don't think I ever have been a fan of Blaze. Like, Blaze as a boss and as a character itself, honestly, it wasn't really all that good. Blaze was not that difficult. He would only be difficult if he actually catches you lacking in a corner, and then he'll fuck you up. I literally beat him with my shitty customized character in this game, which again, the customization in Armageddon was really bad. It was really bad. Blaze himself just wasn't threatening. That's just me.
Delia had varying opinions on how to properly stop Armageddon. To Argus, only the complete and utter elimination of each and every Mortal Kombat participant was key to preventing it. But Delia didn't quite agree with this. Instead, she believed that it was possible to prevent Armageddon from happening without taking the lives of these warriors. So she proposed to depower them instead. To settle the debate between husband and wife, Argus and Delia decided to pit their children, Taven and Dagon, each against each other.
Fuck yeah,
Specifically,
goats!
Argus and
The
Delia created
goats!
this bet where whoever
Taven
between their two
and
kids
Dagon.
defeats Blaze would become Edenia's new protector, all the while preventing the Armageddon prophecy from becoming reality. On top of that, this bet involved both Taven and Dagon acquiring one of two holy suits of armor from Earthrealm. As the
Dude,
story
I'm
goes,
telling
one of
you,
these
the
suits represented
designs
the
that they would have
destruction of
gave
each
them,
and every-
the designs that they would have gave them in MK1 would be all elite. They would have been D1, bro. They should have been in the game. Missed opportunity, Ed Boon. Or if you are going to be making another Mortal Kombat, you need to add them in the roster because come on. Like, let's be freaking for real.
every Mortal Kombat participant, while the other represented the loss of their powers. But here's the thing. Unknown to either Argus or Delia, there was a problem with their plan.
Ooh, hold on. I gotta go to the bathroom. I will be right back. All right. Back from the bathroom. Let's get back into watching this. Oh Lord. All right. I just got home from work building some camera equipment for filmmaking and audio. Nice. Welcome to the stream. Where this piston still on the first timeline. Wait, are you fucking serious? This is still the first timeline? Oh Lord. Oh God, I hate it all. All right, well, let's continue.
In truth, there was a third possibility that might happen regardless of their attempts to prevent Armageddon. Instead of either depowering or eliminating the mortal combatants, there was a chance that they'd ultimately end up with a power boost. And even if this increase in power failed to bring forth Armageddon, it would still cause an imbalance within the fabric of time and space. One particular entity was actually
why Chronica?
and it happened to be none other than the Titan Chronica herself. I told you she'd become important at some point. Now, keep in mind that Chronica won't make herself known to the wider MK universe until later. But it is worth noting that despite being an unseen force, this Titan was very much active behind the scenes ever since the early days of the Mortal Kombat universe. Regardless, according to Chronica's own schemes, upsetting the natural order within the MK universe would open up an opportunity for her to pull off her grand plan, for chaos to reign over everything. But let's get back to more pressing matters. Argus and Delia pushed through with their little gamble. First, they'd send both of their sons to Earthrealm, where they would be put in stasis. Then they tasked a couple of Edenian guardian dragons named Karo and Orin to awaken each of the brothers when it came time for them to begin their respective missions. Now, fast forward to the present day, and the dragon Orin awakens Taven from stasis to let him know that his and Dagon's quest has begun. On the other hand, Taven first wanted to be granted an audience with his father, so he traveled to Argus Temple. There, Taven discovered that Argus Temple had been abandoned. Instead, his dad left him and his brother a message, which pretty much states the rules of their mission. You know, that whole deal about beating Blaze to determine who would become Edenia's new guardian. Anyways, Taven would then pay his mother's temple a visit in order to claim one of the holy suits of armor that Delia had left for her boys.
Yep.
However,
so this is
Taven
already
arrived
to the
there
point
only
where
to
Elder
find
Gods
out
are
that
like,
Sub-Zero and the
I think we
Lin
need to
Kuei
do
clan
something.
had
Oh,
turned
never
the
mind.
temple into their
There's
base
nothing
of
we could do.
operations. A fight ensued between Sub-Zero and Taven, with Taven coming out as the victor. He'd then grab his armor.
Well, obviously,
and
you're supposed
even
to beat all the
he would form
all
an
the
alliance
fighters
with Sub-Zero after learning about the faction called Red Dragon. Eventually, Taven would also come face to face with Earthrealm's new guardian, the wind god Fujin, and defeat him in battle. However, Taven
I
soon
do
found
like
out
how
that the
Taven
leader
actually
of the
like
Red
evolves
Dragon
with
was
like
none other
the
than
drip.
his brother, Dagon, who proved to be, well, not a good guy at all. Firstly, Dagon trapped and experimented with his dragon, Karo, after it made the mistake of reviving him from stasis too early. And if you thought that was bad enough, then wait until you find out that
revived
during
him
the
too
whole
early?
time that Taven was asleep,
Stupid.
Dagon had also proceeded to take Argus and Delia's life after finding out the true motives behind their quest. Dagon would then escape to the Netherrealm and Taven would give chase. Here we discover that the one and only Shinnok is still alive. And given that Taven had been asleep for so long, he had no idea that Shinnok was no longer an Elder God. So he inadvertently helped Shinnok reclaim his throne in the Netherrealm. Shinnok then told Taven that his brother was actually in Earthrealm. On a side note, Shinnok was still as calculating as ever, as it would also be revealed that he was actually loyal to Dagon.
It's the ultimate
And the only
power or
reason he
whatever.
helped Taven
Some,
was
I don't know.
basically to see
Fight to
all
the death,
other
whatever.
warriors in the MK universe take one another out, so that he himself could rule over what's left afterward. Meanwhile, we also find out that Raiden had made a deal with Shao Kahn during this period. One that would see the Thunder God helping the Outworld Emperor in exchange for Shao Kahn leaving Earthrealm alone. Eventually, Taven and Dagon.
Oh, now
would
you
have
want to
their
be like, nah,
climactic
man, you need to
confrontation
live
with Taven taking his
Earthrealm
brother's life.
alone.
Taven then proceeded
Is
to
that
complete
Blaze?
the quest that his mom and dad tasked him with. And, well, this is where things start to get extra weird for the Mortal Kombat universe as a whole. Like it hasn't
Oh,
been
there's
already.
Blaze.
You see, Taven's story ends with him defeating Blaze. In turn, this allowed him to ascend to Elder God status. On the other hand, neither of the two main outcomes from the Armageddon prophecy came to pass. Instead, we got the third, Dark Horse option, which saw the participants of
What do you mean third Dark Horse option? What? Since when was there an option C? Oh, this timeline's stupid.
The Mortal Kombat tournament gaining more power than ever before. Now, this was the mainline canon ending for the Mortal Kombat universe up to this point. And in fact, this held true for about half a decade or so after the release of the Mortal Kombat Armageddon game back in 2006. But then, Mortal Kombat 9.
Mortal Kombat 9, yep. That's when they're like, hey, as what Husky said, hey, we're doing the same fucking storyline, but for MK9. Fuck what Taven did. Oh my god.
In 2011, the 9th installment of the MK franchise was released. This game was simply called Mortal Kombat, similar in name to the first ever game released in the series. And there's a reason for that. On a side note, I'll be referring to this game as Mortal Kombat 9 instead, for the sake of clarity. With that said, Mortal Kombat 9 upends the universe's status quo by erasing the ending of Taven's story from MK canon. Instead, it would be revealed that Taven actually lost his life to Shao Kahn during the climactic battle in Mortal Kombat Armageddon. After that, in this new timeline, Shao Kahn then defeated Blaze, which effectively gave him the powers of an Elder God. But Shao Kahn was not alone, as it would also be revealed that he...
What? So you mean to tell me that the storyline that we had to do in Armageddon was never the right option, but that was the only option we had to do? And yet when Mortal Kombat 9 came out, Ed Boon straight up was like, yeah, Taven's not coming back because, I didn't like how the story went. What? I don't like that at all. Like, that actually genuinely pisses me off. So, judging from this, we are now in the second timeline now.
He and Raiden were the only warriors left standing when all was said and done. So, the godlike Outworlder Emperor and the Thunder God then had a quick scuffle, with Shao Kahn easily subduing Raiden in the process. As we said, things are about to get even more bonkers for the Mortal Kombat universe from here on out. And this happened when Raiden managed to send a message to his younger self in the past, before Shao Kahn finished him off. This message contained only 3 words: he must win. We then move the clock backward to the events of the first ever Mortal Kombat game from 1992.
What?
And if you haven't caught on already, well, Mortal Kombat 9 is pretty much a reboot of the entire MK franchise. Mortal Kombat 9's plot is pretty much a different version of the events that happened in the first 3 MK games. That said, we find ourselves back in time and see Raiden suddenly having premonitions of
And
the
I
events
remember
that would
playing this
happen in the
entire
future.
story of MK9
In other words, the
all
Thunder
too well.
God saw Armageddon. He interprets his future self's message as having to do with Liu Kang winning the Mortal Kombat tournament in
Honestly.
order to prevent the end
Damn!
times.
Sorry.
Along the way, Raiden would also come across the original Sub-Zero, Bi-Han, and Scorpion, just as the latter was about to end Sub-Zero's life. Seeing this, Raiden negotiates with Scorpion to spare his rival's life in exchange for bringing the entire Shirai Ryu clan back to life. Scorpion ultimately agreed to this proposal, but Quan Chi intervened by putting false memories inside his head and making him think that Bi-Han was actually the one who took out his entire clan, as well as his son and wife. This made Scorpion go on a rampage, which eventually ended with him doing the thing he did in the first ever Mortal Kombat game: take Bi-Han's life. Eventually, our characters would run through the motions and Liu Kang would emerge as the champion of the Mortal Kombat tournament.
He must
However,
win.
Raiden
Liu
also
Kang,
noticed
basically.
that this did nothing to prevent the Armageddon prophecy from coming to pass. In the aftermath of the Mortal Kombat tournament, same as in Mortal Kombat 2, Shang Tsung would save himself by proposing to host another Mortal Kombat tournament in Outworld. This time though, his motives are far more fleshed out compared to the dumb home court advantage thing we got in the first timeline. Specifically, Shang Tsung made a
this is
bet
basically
that
Jax
Outworld
before he
would
got his metal
perpetually
arms,
avoid
basically.
hostilities against Earthrealm if its warriors won this tournament. On the other hand, if Outworld wins, then Earthrealm would fall under Shao Kahn's control. Raiden would ultimately agree to this proposal. It's here in this particular tournament that we get to see
Smoke.
Bi-Han's brother,
Like, that, honestly,
take on
Smoke's
his fallen
MK9
sibling's
fit
mantle
has
of
to be the
Sub-Zero.
hardest
In
freaking
addition
fit
to
ever,
that,
dude.
The new Sub-Zero would
Like,
also
I
be
love
aided
that
by
fit
his
so
friend
much.
Smoke to go on a quest of revenge against Scorpion. We also learn that in this new reality, the Lin Kuei clan has already
Lin
made
Kuei.
cybernetic assassins.
Ah,
namely
no,
Cyrex
I'm a
and
robot
Scepter,
now.
who were then given the mission of retrieving Sub-Zero and Smoke so that the clan could also turn them into mindless cyborg assassins. Now, if we remember, Smoke actually ended up getting caught by the Lin Kuei in the original timeline. This time, however,
Wait, he's
Raiden
talking about
and
Shao that
intervened
needs
and
to
saved
win?
Smoke from being cybernetically enhanced. The problem is, it was Sub-Zero.
What do you mean? That's so stupid. So at the end of the day, Raiden's like, nah, man, we need to lose, man. We need to lose. We need to lose, dude. Oh my god, I hate you, Raiden.
Who would end up getting taken back to the clan and experimented on. Meanwhile, the Edenian princess, Kitana, who at this point was still loyal to Shao Kahn, ended up betraying her adoptive father in order to side with Earthrealm's champions and
Johnny!
search for Melina, her sister clone. Oh, and Kitana would pair up with another Edenian she-warrior named Jade as well. Mortal Kombat 9 then further diverted from the original timeline when Raiden chose Kung Lao to be Earthrealm's champion in this particular Mortal Kombat tournament, instead of our OG hero, Liu Kang.
So much clanker is crazy.
Kung Lao did a great job, as he ended up winning the whole thing after taking out the likes of Shang Tsung, Kintaro, and Quan Chi. However, just as Kung Lao was taking his victory lap, Shao Kahn would do him dirty by literally stabbing him.
Kung Lao, bro, it's the fact that not only do we get a whole freaking reset of this timeline, I wasn't really thinking Kung Lao would be the type of guy to gloat, and yet here we are, Kung Lao gloating, and then he gets his freaking chain snatched by Shao Kahn. This is where the horrible wording from the Elder Gods comes into play. Yeah? Alright.
In the back and taking his life. Enraged after seeing his friend brutally taken out like that, Liu Kang charged at Shao Kahn and gave him an epic beating that ultimately saw the Outworlder Emperor almost falling by Liu Kang's hand. Still, there was a bigger problem at hand, as Raiden realized that none of his efforts had amounted to anything. That is to say, his visions of Armageddon were still threatening to end all of existence as he knew it. Another interesting twist we get here is that Quan Chi has become the ruler of the Netherrealm in this reality. As a matter of fact, it was actually he who was responsible for bringing Shao Kahn back from the brink of death after Liu Kang gave him a beatdown. From there, Quan Chi and Shao Kahn would form an alliance, with Quan Chi using his powers to resurrect Shao Kahn's late wife, Sindel. As with the original timeline, Sindel's revival meant that the barrier between realms would weaken. So
she was naked. I wasn't expecting that. I honestly didn't remember that.
Raiden formed a team made up of Johnny Cage, a cop named Stryker, and a reformed criminal named Cabal.
Okay, wait, hold on. Now my question was brought up to this, because I remember playing this chapter in MK9. Why in the fuck did Raiden chose a regular ass cop that somehow defeated Reptile? Riddle me this, Raiden. Were you that freaking desperate to where you were oh my god, you were making the worst plays. You made the worst plays. Now, listen, I'm not shading on Stryker. I like Stryker. I mean, Stryker was literally in the original MK. What the hell? Sorry, my freaking phone rang. My bad. I thought it was important, but no, it's not. Anyways, I'm not shading on Stryker at all. I like Stryker. It's just now thinking about it with all this information coming in, what as monsters were taking over Earthrealm, Raiden was like going over people, randomly draft picking people, and looked at that cop and be like, You are now one of the Earthrealm's fighters. What? Like, I'm just a regular guy that's just doing a 9 to 5 as a cop. And then, he somehow defeats Reptile of all people. Not gonna lie, Stryker just has plot armor like that. you know what? I mean, again, that's why I was stating that Striker. I'm not shading on Striker. I like Striker. I do. I've always had liked Striker. It's just funny that that he's literally in the middle of like in a big ass apocalypse, and Raiden comes out of nowhere, levitates, and be like, you regular cop, you are now one of Earthrealm's champions. Go help fight and save Earthrealm. What? Fourth. Oh, this is the fourth death of Shao Kahn, but it's the first in this timeline. Got you.
In order to fend off Shao Kahn and his Outworld armies, a great battle ensued between the two factions, which saw Shao Kahn granting Sindel a power boost after pretty much feeding her with the souls that his underling had gathered. In the middle of all this, Liu Kang and Raiden would pay the Elder Gods
Oh, and look at the Elder Gods, literally not doing anything.
However, the Elder Gods are a bunch of sticklers, so they deny Liu Kang and Raiden's request. According to them, Shao Kahn's attempted invasion is perfectly
Elder Gods,
within the rules
please,
of the MK universe.
I pray and beg of thee, please help us take out Shao Kahn. Nah. What the fuck?
The only way they would intervene would be if Outworld forcibly fused itself with Earthrealm without winning the required 10 Mortal Kombat tournaments. You can look at it this way. As the Elder Gods put it, declaring or engaging in war against other realms is all good. And it's only illegal if you actually formally declare that you're invading another realm. So yeah, this proves that the Mortal Kombat franchise isn't just full of red liquid coming out of its characters' bodies whenever they fight. It's also full of very dumb, crazy, and confusing rules. Anyway, back to our story. The war between Outworld and Earthrealm raged on, and given Sindel's newly found power boost, she was able to take out numerous champions that got in her way.
Damn, Sindel just fucking did built to ass.
Sindel was just about to take out her own daughter, Kitana, when another Earthrealm champion and Native American
Nightwolf
named
Oh yeah,
Nightwolf
and then
came to her
Nightwolf died
rescue.
right after this too.
However, this came at a cost because Nightwolf
I remember I played through that chapter and I was like, so Nightwolf just okay.
Efforts actually managed to take out the maddened Edenia Queen. Now, Nightwolf's whole heroic sacrifice would have been more epic if it actually saved Kitana's life.
Yeah, Sindel slimed
But it didn't
everybody.
really,
Like, my
as
god.
Kitana would also succumb to her injuries soon after. And with that, only 4 champions remained on Earthrealm's side: Raiden, Liu Kang, Sonya Blade, and Johnny Cage. Knowing that there was no way they could win a battle against Shao Kahn and his
Obviously,
Outworld
there was
armies,
no way to win.
Raiden instead decided to go the diplomatic route. So the Thunder God tried to cut a deal with Quan Chi. He pretty much offered his allegiance in exchange for all the souls of the fallen Earthrealm champions. On top of that, Raiden also
Oh
pledged
my
his
god,
own soul
Raiden,
to
why
Quan
would you
Chi
do that? You
in
already
case
know
he
you're
lost
gonna
his
get
life
freaking
fighting
backstabbed in the end. It's
However,
fucking Quan Chi.
refuses Raiden's proposal and reveals that he already had the same deal with Shao Kahn. In fact, the Outworlder Emperor had already given Quan Chi the souls of the fallen heroes, and subsequently turned them into mindless zombie warriors under his command. Eventually, Raiden realized that his future self's message, "He must win," wasn't
Oh, yeah,
referring
except
to
Johnny and
either
Sonya.
Liu
Yeah, yeah,
Kang
yeah.
or Kung Lao. The Thunder God finally puts 2 and 2 together, and it dawns on him that the he his future self was referring to was none other than Shao Kahn. Simply put, Raiden must allow Shao Kahn to take over Earthrealm, since that would mean that he'd be breaking the Elder God's rules, which would then prompt them to take out Shao Kahn. Liu Kang would learn about this development and lash out at Raiden for pretty much using him and his friends as pawns. Afterward, Liu Kang would go on his own to deal with Shao Kahn. Raiden would try to stop him, but this would ultimately end in him accidentally killing Liu Kang. Ouch.
Accidentally my ass, bro. You literally electrocuted his freaking body. Raiden's a bum, bro. A bum.
The shock of this incident then forced Raiden to just give up the fight and submit himself to Shao Kahn. Of course, this made Shao Kahn rightfully believe that he'd won the war, so he proceeded to conquer Earthrealm. But as we've mentioned, there are a lot of weird rules in the MK universe. And this move was in clear violation of those rules, since Shao Kahn has fully conquered Earthrealm without winning 10 consecutive Mortal Kombat tournaments. As such, the Elder Gods were now free to intervene. They did so by giving Raiden his own power boost, which the Thunder God then used to take out the Outworlder Emperor. In the aftermath, Raiden, Sonya, and Johnny would link up to try and rebuild everything that was destroyed during the war. Unknown to them, Quan Chi was still around, squirming and scheming his next move. More interestingly, we find out that Quan Chi is a loyal servant of Shinnok in this new reality, instead of the weasel he was during the original timeline. On top of that, Shinnok's place in the MK universe was also revamped here, as we find out that he's a banished elder god of darkness in this new world. Shinnok would then reveal that Shao Kahn's defeat and the demise of most of Earthrealm's champions were all part of his own grand scheme. To Shinnok, conquering one realm was not enough. He had to catch them all.
And then here comes MKX.
Mortal Kombat 10.
Yup.
In the next 2 years following the events of MK9, the Earthrealm would achieve a degree of relative peace. However, as these stories go, peace is short-lived, and bloody times are bound to be back. Soon, Shinnok made his first move against the entire Mortal Kombat world order when he sent out his armies to wreak havoc on Earthrealm. And if you were wondering about those zombified versions of the fallen champions Quan Chi created in Mortal Kombat 9, well,
I just fucking realized. I literally just realized. MK11 basically did the same fucking thing. They brought characters that were dead, but brought them back as undead, and that was literally Liu Kang, Kung Lao, Katana. Oh my god. Oh, I'm already hating. I'm already hating everything now that things are connecting together. Oh my god. Fifth Shao death, second of the timeline.
it is no surprise to discover that they've been added to Shinnok's unholy ranks. On the bright side, although Earthrealm's heroes are few and far between, those left standing such as Johnny Cage, Sonya Blade, and a telekinetic blind Japanese swordsman named Ken Shi were able to fend off Shinnok's forces. Right after that, the trio would head over to a sacred spot called the Jinsai Chamber, a place where Earthrealm's life energy comes from. There, they'd link up with Raiden and Fujin, only to witness the two gods in a heated battle against Shinnok
Yep, and then
itself.
they died.
Now,
They
it's
got
been a
sucked
long
up in the
time
damn
coming, but
freaking
if
medallion.
you're a Johnny Cage fan, then you'd be absolutely thrilled to find out that he is
Oh
this
yeah,
storyline's
Johnny Cage
main guy.
was the one
It all
that took out the
started when
freaking Elder
Shinnok
God,
spotted
which,
Sonya
I'm gonna
and
be
attempted
real,
to
I think
take
that
her
was
out.
kind of goated.
Johnny quickly jumped
That
in,
was goated
which
that Johnny got his
resulted in the
freaking,
action star awakening super martial arts powers within himself. He then
Yeah,
used
Johnny
these
Cage was able
abilities
to
fight
freaking
Shinnok to a stalemate until
unleash his
Raiden
true
was able to
power,
grab
which
his
I think that was
amulet and
goated.
trap him within it. This tactic worked, and Shinnok was successfully dealt with. However, Earthrealm's champions' troubles weren't over just yet. That's because in the middle of their heated confrontation with Shinnok, his lackey Quan Chi was able to escape. So Johnny, Sonya, and Raiden would head over to the Netherrealm to find the sorcerer. Unfortunately, this meeting would also end with Quan Chi escaping. On the bright
Of
side,
course.
our heroes were able to bring Sub-Zero, Scorpion, and Jax back into the fold with a bit of magical mumbo-jumbo from Quan Chi. So it was a huge W for the good boys. So again, their world would
Honestly,
experience a
W
degree
Johnny
of
push.
peace in
Yeah,
the
I
coming
agree.
years.
That was a W push.
For one, Johnny and Sonya married each other and had a daughter named Cassie. Sadly though, the two would also end up having a divorce sometime after that. More important,
What the fuck? Oh yes, let's get married and have a beautiful child. All right, I want a divorce. Why? What was the point of that? What even happened that ended that way?
like Mortal Kombat 10 also saw Sub-Zero and Scorpion finally squashing their long-standing beef. It all happened when Sub-Zero managed to take control of the Lin Kuei clan after
Lin
taking down
Kuei.
its former head Sector. And it was by scrounging through Sector's memory banks that Sub-Zero was able to show
The whole
Scorpion the
time,
truth.
like Johnny
that it
Rock
was
Dog
Quan
the
Chi
entire
who was
time.
behind the eradication of his clan. and
That's
his wife
true.
and
Johnny
child.
Cage literally
And
rock
speaking of
dogged
Scorpion,
everything
he would
without
reestablish
unleashing
the
his true
Shirai
ability,
Raidu
which,
during this period
when you
as
think
well.
about it, that's actually
Not only
fucking
that,
goated.
But he dropped the Scorpion moniker.
He
for a time,
lasted
and instead
all
went by his
that
original name,
without
Hanzo
unleashing
Hasashi.
his true
We then
ability.
moved the
And
clock
it took
forward a couple of decades to see a younger generation
it took
of
an
heroes
altered
come to the forefront.
timeline
This new group
to
was
have
made
him
up of
unleash
Cassie
his
Cage,
second ability.
Jax's daughter,
Not his
Jackie
second,
Brick,
his true
Kung
ability.
Jin, Kung Lao's nephew, and Takeda Tak.
Sonya was too into her work in the special forces and didn't spend time with Johnny and Cass. Oh, so then Sonya Blade then. L Cass then, basically.
Kahashi, who happened to be Kenshi's nephew and Sub-Zero's protege. This crew would then be sent to Outworld on a mission to intervene in a brewing
Oh yeah, the
civil war
combat
between
kids.
the realm's current ruler, Kotal Khan, and its former empress, Melina. You see, Melina had been planning to regain power on Outworld by working with the classic MK criminal, Kano. who was then tasked with securing Shinnok's
With
amulet
Rain,
for
who
her
was
to
not
be
a
used
playable
in her fight
character in
against Kotal
MKX, which
Khan.
was
And just
stupid.
to give you a bit of context, Kotal Khan might not be your traditional good guy, but at least he's the type of ruler who was willing to honor a ceasefire between Outworld and Earthrealm. In any case, the story goes that Sonya Blade managed to get the jump on Kano, who
And
then
kicked the
told her
dog piss
about
out of him.
Melina's current whereabouts. Sonya would then relay this information to Cassie's crew, and they joined forces with Kotal Khan to retrieve Shinnok's amulet. In the aftermath, Kotal would sentence Melina to death, ending the civil war in Outworld. However, it was also
they
at this point
literally
that
killed
Kotal
off Melina.
decided
I
to screw
forgot.
over Earthrealm by taking Cassie and her group hostage and keeping the amulet for himself, thinking that Earthrealm didn't have the capability to properly guard the powerful artifact. But then it came to light that Kotal Khan's right-hand woman, Devora, was a spy working for none other than Quan Chi. Devora would steal the amulet from Kotal, and this event would prompt Cassie and her crew to escape Outworld so that they could notify Earthrealm about this development. After learning about Devora's treachery, Jax and Ken Shi would then go on a mission to the Netherrealm to deal with Quan Chi. There, they were aided by Quan Chi's former head assassin, Serena.
Damn, she still looks bad,
after some
though.
battling, our heroes were able to nab Quan Chi and send him to an internment camp on Earthrealm. However, more trouble ensued when Scorpion and his clan caught wind of Quan Chi's arrival on Earthrealm. And as we already know by now, Scorpion isn't the type of guy who lets bygones be bygones. Still understandably vengeful from everything Quan Chi had done to his clan and family, Scorpion and his men would attempt to assassinate the sorcerer, even if it meant going against his former allies. Well, suffice it to say that Scorpion got what he wanted, as he was literally able to take Quan Chi's head after their confrontation. The problem was that Devora intervened just in time for Quan Chi to perform a spell that released Shinnok from his prison. From there, Devora and Shinnok would kidnap Johnny Cage, defeat Raiden and the drunken Shaolin master Bo Rai Cho, and ultimately Shinnok would corrupt Jinsai Chamber, which then allowed him to turn into a fearsome demon. In response,
Oh yeah, Demon
Cassie and her
Shinnok?
team would hunt down Shinnok. However, their search comes to a halt when Kotal Khan and his Outworld
Aaron
forces
Black.
surround the young heroes group with the intention of taking them out. You see, Kotal might be kind of a scumbag, but he really does care for Outworld. As such, he believed that eliminating Cassie and her group would help him get on Shinnok's good side, which would then allow him to mobilize Outworld for a war against him. Kotal Khan's plan didn't come to fruition though, as Sub-Zero and the Lin Kuei clan joined the fray, rescued Cassie's group, and fended off Outworld's armies. Afterward, Cassie would locate her dad inside the Jinsai Chamber and witnessed
This was an L Scorpion. He killed Quan Chi and prevents Lu Jie, Katana, and even more from returning to their human forms. Yeah, that was shit.
Devora giving Johnny, well, let's just say a bit of pointed interrogation. The shock of seeing her dad getting absolutely dunked on allowed Cassie to awaken the same supernatural abilities she inherited from Johnny. Cassie then beat the daylights out of Shinnok using these abilities. At the same time, Raiden would use his powers to remove the corruption that Shinnok brought upon the Jinsai Chamber. And like a couple of downed Scooby-Doo criminals, Shinnok and Devora are arrested by Earthrealm's forces. Not long after that, we discover that Raiden had gained possession of Shinnok's amulet. However, we also find out that he had been corrupted by the same
what the
curse
fuck?
Shinnok
What's with the
placed on
picture? Why is it
Jinsai
like
Chamber
that?
when he tried to cleanse it. The hits just keep on coming too, as we also get the reveal that the zombified versions of Katana and Liu Kang had become Netherrealm's newest rulers. Yeah, it got pretty wild. In any case, Raiden
And
might
that's
be
how
corrupted,
MK11
but he
came
still
in.
remained loyal to Earthrealm. This became apparent when he showed up in front of Liu Kang and Katana to warn them that anyone who messed with Earthrealm would experience a fate worse than death. And just to drive the point home, Raiden presented the Netherrealm rulers Shinnok's head as an example. Mortal Kombat 11. Now, Raiden's corruption was so extensive that it went beyond just a dark aesthetic glow-up. Raiden had pretty much turned into this lethal protector, closer to someone like Marvel's Punisher than an honest good guy. This only became all the more obvious when he came up with a plan to take out anything or anyone who had the slightest idea of messing with Earthrealm. Now, remember Kronika, that shady titan we mentioned in the earlier parts of this video? Well, we finally get to see her here in Mortal Kombat 11. On top of that, we get the big reveal that Kronika isn't just a scheming, evil, cosmic bald chick laying in the cut this whole time. She also happens to be Shinnok's mom, considering Kronika.
That shit. Kronika is Shinnok's mom? I did. Wow. Nah, your mom's a piece of shit, Shinnok. I'm sorry, whatever. You're not. Nah, fuck Shinnok. I mean, fuck Shinnok and fuck Kronika. Fuck your mom, dude. Nah. Don't get me wrong. That caught me off guard, but that doesn't change anything. Kronika is still a piece of shit.
Was there pretty much since the beginning. She held the position of Keeper of Time, which allowed her to basically manipulate and shape history as she pleased. In fact, Raiden's overzealous plan to protect Earthrealm and his defeat of the
Centurion
Elder God were the primary factors that prompted Kronika to spring her grand plan to reconfigure the MK universe's history in such a way that Raiden's interferences throughout the entire saga would be erased from existence. And just to be sure the Thunder God won't mess with the timeline ever again, Kronika also set her sights on permanently taking out Raiden. Fast forward to a couple of years, and we find Raiden, Sonya, Cassie, and Jackie carrying out a mission to bring down Netherrealm. They were successful in wrecking Netherrealm Castle, but it came at a price. Sonya lost her life in the process. Right after that, Kronika would approach Netherrealm's co-rulers, Zombie Liu Kang and Zombie Kitana, and strike an alliance with them. Now, we hope you guys are ready for more bonkers plot developments because the next part of the story is just plain crazy. You see, while Sonya and her crew were busy dealing with Netherrealm, Kotal Khan was in Outworld just minding his own business. He was just about ready to execute a guy named Collector, who happened to be loyal to their realm's former ruler, Shao Kahn. Before he could take Collector's head though, Kronika unleashed a freaky time storm, which then brought younger versions of classic Mortal Kombat characters like Liu Kang, Johnny Cage, Sonya Blade, Kung Lao, and Scorpion, just to name a few. Raiden's younger version also arrived in the current timeline. On the other hand, Kronika's time storm...
So does that mean this Raiden also fucks everything up again? Because Raiden's been dropping the ball since this story started.
Also effectively erased present-day Raiden from existence. This led to complete chaos ensuing inside Kotal Khan's execution grounds. And in the middle of the confusion, Devora managed to recruit the Collector, Baraka, Shao Kahn, Scarlet, and Aaron Black into Kronika's ranks. Earthrealm and Outworld would then...
Yeah, I can tell. Oh, Sonya died? Anyways.
Shortly after the scuffle. So our heroes eventually located Garrus.
Okay, hold on. Garrus is badass. His design is great. I love Garrus.
A fight broke out between Garrus and the combined might of Liu Kang and Kung Lao.
Dude, Garrus ate that shit.
Garrus was able to escape in the end. To make matters worse, we find out that he had stolen a significant amount of Earthrealm's life force as well. Now, if you're wondering how Garrus was able to do that, then all you should know is that this guy, like his master, also had time-bending powers, which allowed him to sap Earthrealm's energies. Back to the story. Earthrealm's heroes were faced with another looming threat when they discovered that a fringe group made of robotic limbs.
A new Dark Raiden that was advertised and teased throughout development, and he's canned 2 chapters in. So basically what you're saying is Raiden could have been redeemed by having a badass arc. But then they can't. Okay. Okay. All right. Okay.
Kwai warriors like Sector, Frost, and Noob Saibot had founded a group called Cyber Lin Kuei. Then they started kidnapping the OG Lin Kuei warriors to turn them into mindless robots as well. Oh, and did I mention that they also aligned themselves with Kronika? Yeah. While all this was happening, Raiden paid the Elder Gods a visit to ask for help. But as you'd expect, the Elder...
The announcement trailer was based entirely around Dark Raiden. And then they just fucked it up. Good job, Ed Boon.
The Gods just gave Raiden a bunch of excuses about why they can't interfere. On a more positive note, Raiden eventually discovered a way to take down Kronika when he met another one of her kids, Cetrion. According to her, the key to defeating her mom was an artifact called the Crown of Souls. By the way, Cetrion also happened to be Shinnok's twin sister. Not only that, but she pretty much served as Kronika's personal enforcer in the past, meaning she's taken out her fair share of Elder Gods. And not to get too ahead of ourselves here,
Why
but
are you touching me like
Cetrion
that?
isn't necessarily on the side of justice in this story. Anyway, somewhere else, Kotal Khan and the Edenian warrior Jade would attempt to recruit the powerful warrior tribe called the Tarkata in the
The
fight
Tarkanas
against
with
Shao
his
Kahn,
Baraka.
who had
Yep.
since usurped Kotal's throne after coming out of Kronika's time storm. However, this particular chapter ended with Shao Kahn managing to take Kotal hostage. From there, Kronika would mount her own offensive that would eventually force our heroes to retreat to a spot called the Fire Garden. And as these stories go, Earthrealm's champions, both from the current timeline and the ones who came from the past, would gradually gain some ground against Kronika and her forces. For one, Cassie was able to rescue Johnny and Sonya, with Sonya going so far as to permanently erase Kano's existence from all of reality. On the other hand, the younger versions of Liu Kang, Kitana, and Kung Lao formed a pact with Shiva, the queen of the Shokan tribe. Their combined forces ultimately allowed our heroes to take down Shao Kahn, unite Outworld under one banner, and install Kitana as its newest ruler. Meanwhile, Raiden tasked Jackie and Jax's younger
Jackie!
version to get hold of the Crown of Souls
Love
from
Jackie.
Shang Tsung's old stronghold. However, they failed to do this.
Oh
when
yeah,
Cetrion appeared and
my
took the
top
artifact
7.
for herself.
Jackie. I love
During
Jackie.
this, the present-day Scorpion traveled to the Netherrealm to enlist the help of Kairon, Netherrealm's ferryman who had the ability to lead our heroes to Kronika's stronghold. However, he'd find out that Devora
Ew,
had
she's
beaten him to the
weird.
punch when he saw
Her
that
design
she
is
had
great,
already
but
subdued
is it
Kairon. A duel
gross?
between Scorpion and Devora ensued, but it was interrupted by Hanzo's younger self, aka Scorpion from the past. On the bright side, Hanzo was able to convince his past self to leave Kronika's side and join him. This particular chapter ends on a bittersweet note, as present Hanzo would end up losing his life after Devora poisoned him. On the flip side, his past self was able to fend off Devora and eventually link up with the rest of our heroes to inform them that Karan would help them in their fight against Kronika. However, despite everything, Raiden was not convinced that this version of Scorpion was truly on their side, so he tried to attack him. But Liu Kang jumped in to defuse the situation.
And Liu Kang's like,
It then
hey,
dawned on
Raiden,
Liu Kang
how
that
about you
Kronika
stop
had been
fighting and
messing with
actually
the timeline
talk
this
first?
whole time, pitting him and Raiden against each other across various alternate timelines, all in the hopes of preventing them from teaming up. You see, Kronika was afraid that Raiden and Liu Kang's combined might would prevent her from accomplishing her goals. And once she caught wind of the situation, she decided to actually abduct Liu Kang. Shortly after, our heroes would mount their offensive against Kronika and storm her stronghold in the Netherrealm with Karan's help. However, they were too late to rescue Liu Kang. As it turns out, Kronika had been planning to merge him with his zombified Netherrealm version. Well, Kronika succeeded in this regard and promptly sent Liu Kang after Raiden. But another twist arrived when Raiden and Liu Kang fused with each other, which in turn effectively turned Liu Kang into a godly version of himself.
Into a
known
fire
as
god,
Fire
which,
God
let's
Liu
be
Kang.
real, it's a
Another
really good
Earthrealm
design.
champion stormed Kronika's home base, but the Titan was able to turn back the clock. However, due to his newfound status as a god, Fire God Liu Kang was immune to Kronika's time-bending powers. This allowed him to continue duking it out with their enemies, promptly defeating Cetrion and the zombified MK warriors in the process. Right after that, Kronika sucked out Cetrion's soul, which allowed her to gain enough power to rewind time back to the beginning of the universe. This, in
Here
turn,
comes
pretty
the
much did
other
a hard
time
reset on Mortal Kombat's
reset.
entire history. However, Fire God Liu Kang ended up tussling with Kronika in one last climactic battle.
Which is
Now,
why in the
Mortal Kombat
DLC
11
you
has
actually had a
3
choice if you wanted
which
to
fits the whole
go
time-bending
Shang
themes
Tsung's
that
way
the series
or Liu
has been
Kang's
going
way.
for. But
Which
as far as
obviously, if you go
canonicity
Liu
goes,
Kang way,
the
which is the canon
quote-unquote true ending
ending,
of the story
that's
saw
how
Liu
MK1
Kang take out
exists.
Kronika and destroy the Crown of Souls. Shortly after that, the Fire God would meet a mortal version of Raiden, who then pledged to be Liu Kang's advisor. Make no mistake though, this saga is not at its end just yet.
Yep, because
Mortal Kombat 11,
Aftermath, right, the DLC.
Not long after
Yep.
Kronika's downfall, Fire God Liu Kang and Raiden would try
This
to
is
use
pretty
the
much
Titan's
where I'm like,
hourglass
you
in order to
know,
set the
caught
course
up,
of history
but
back
you know,
to
we're
the
still
way
gonna
they
watch
knew it.
the
However,
entire thing.
just before they could proceed to do this, Fujin, Shang Tsung, and Nightwolf emerged from a portal and approached the Fire God and Raiden. We find out that Kronika had trapped the trio in a void outside of space and time after they refused to join her side. More importantly, Shang Tsung informed the two that if they tried to use Kronika's hourglass within the Crown of Souls, they would just end up destroying the whole reality. So Shang Tsung, Fujin, and Nightwolf volunteered to travel to the past and steal the artifact before Centurion could grab it. Raiden and the Fire God reluctantly agreed to this, and the trio are sent to have their fateful duel. Eventually, Shang Tsung would tell his companions that they needed the help of Edenia's late queen Sindel to get past Cetrion. Now, Sindel at this point had been turned into one of Quan Chi's zombified warriors. So to properly revive her, Shang Tsung had to pull some strings along with some help from Shiva and a place called the Soul Chamber. Long story short, Sindel was brought back to life properly this time. Afterward, they would travel to Shang Tsung's old stronghold, and as he had planned, Sindel was able to take down Cetrion, which allowed their group to retrieve the Crown of Souls. Kronika would
in
also
my
try
opinion,
to
the
get back her
DLC really
artifact,
wasn't
but
that
she ended
bad,
up being
honestly. It
driven
really
away
wasn't that
instead.
bad.
However, before being sent off, Kronika revealed that the same person who created the Crown of Souls was none other than Shang Tsung himself. This is where we discover that Shang Tsung had his own designs this whole time. You see, this dastardly sorcerer had been planning to use the Crown of Souls for himself. In fact, Shang Tsung's schemes even went as far as having Sindel
Honestly,
reunite
seeing
with
Shao
Kahn,
Kahn without his helmet,
then led
it's
to the
really
downfall of most of
horrific. I
Earthrealm's
ain't gonna lie.
champions.
He
On
looks
top
better
of
with the
that,
helmet
Shang
on. Just
Tsung
keep it
also
on, dog.
managed to defeat Raiden and Fujin before screwing over Shao Kahn and Sindel. And if you know Shang Tsung, you can bet that he sucked out their souls like a Slurpee afterward.
You
With the help
did,
of the
but
Crown of
pause, bro. You didn't have to say it like that, dude. Ew. You suck their soul like a Slurpee. Like, ew, nigga. You weird. Hold on. Starting to get a little dark. Like, gross. The fuck?
Souls. Shang Tsung was also able to defeat Kronika and completely erase her from existence. Kronika's downfall allowed Shang Tsung to absorb her essence too, and all that was left for the shady sorcerer was to use Titan's hourglass to shape history in any way he wanted.
Okay.
However, in yet another twist, Shang Tsung found out that he too was being played all along. As it turns out, Fire God Liu Kang knew about Shang Tsung's plans the whole time. The only reason he agreed to send him to the past was because he was aware that Shang Tsung was the only person in all of existence who could take down Kronika. Now, as is Mortal Kombat tradition, this story also has multiple endings. On one hand, Shang Tsung won his final battle with Liu Kang, which then allowed him to absorb the Fire God's essence and turn himself into a Titan. In another alternative ending, Liu Kang was actually able to take out Shang Tsung and, like Kronika, erase his existence from all of reality. Fire God then took the Crown of Souls and used it in conjunction with Kronika's hourglass, which ultimately allowed him to create a new timeline. In the end, we get a glimpse of Liu Kang's new world order when we see him visit a Shaolin temple in Earthrealm. There, he would meet the Great Kung Lao and choose him to become Earthrealm's representative in the Mortal Kombat tournament.
Yep.
Mortal Kombat 1, 2023.
And now we're at
And so
the
we
current
arrive at
timeline.
the latest installment in the Mortal Kombat franchise, the game known as Mortal.
When Fujin and Liu Kang talk about the plan in the background, the only line we hear Fujin say is, "But is the risk worth it?" Oh, I see.
Mortal Kombat 1.
Interesting.
Although this is actually the 12th mainline
Sorry.
installment in the series, its title comes from the fact that this also serves as another reboot of the MK universe.
Yep,
As we go along,
another
you'll see a
fucking
lot of
reboot.
changes to the status quo of various characters, as well as newcomers to the series. Here we find out that Fire God Liu Kang had immediately given custody of Kronika's hourglass to her old servant, Guras. After that, the Fire God decided to head over to Earthrealm and become its guardian. Basically, Liu Kang became this new timeline's Raiden. From there, Liu Kang managed to reach a degree of peace between Earthrealm and Outworld in exchange for continuing the age-old tradition of Mortal Kombat. Fast forward to the present, and we discover that Shang Tsung isn't the powerful sorcerer he once was. Instead, he has become a powerless, regular Outworld citizen who sells snake oil on the streets. However, a shady individual who calls herself Damashi approaches Shang Tsung one day and tells him that
it
he's
was
destined
stupid.
to become
Like
a
when I was
powerful
playing the
mystic.
story,
Somewhere
when
else,
I
Liu Kang prepares for another
posted
Mortal
the
Kombat
story of
tournament
me
by
playing
recruiting
MK
champions to
1,
represent
the moment
Earthrealm.
I saw her face, I was like,
These
dude, it's
include
literally
Johnny
Kronika.
Cage,
Are we
Joe
stupid?
An ex-Yakuza member named Kenshi, and a couple of Shaolin farmers named Kung Lao and Raiden. The Mortal Kombat tournament goes swimmingly, and Raiden ends up becoming the event's champ. Soon enough,
And
Garas catches wind that not only has Shang Tsung rediscovered
No,
his
I
magical
agree,
abilities,
dude.
but he has also started working as an advisor for Outworld's current ruler, Queen Sindel. So he relayed this information to Liu Kang. In response, the Fire God sent out Johnny, Kenshi, and Kung Lao to Outworld so that they could keep an eye on Shang Tsung. The three warriors arrive at the wastelands of Outworld, a place populated by a tribe of people infected by the Tarkat virus, Tarkatans. Here, our heroes would witness Shang Tsung
obviously we got our good
experimenting
boy
on the tribe
Baraka.
leader, Baraka, in hopes of infecting Sindel's daughter, Melina, with the same virus. Johnny, Kenshi, and Kung Lao would rescue Baraka, but Shang Tsung is able to escape. On the other hand, Baraka helped the three warriors locate Shang Tsung's secret.
So in this timeline, Baraka was a good guy.
From getting infected. Curiously, Melina lunges at our heroes.
Yeah,
and
but then we got Melina, how she
the
looks.
Plot thickens when we find out that Shang Tsung is actually trying to craft a serum that would.
Honestly, I wish it was Chronica. It's much better than what it actually is.
What?
Help Melina.
So wait, was it okay? Well, because again, after I beat Mortal Kombat, I would have to look back at my stream when I mean not my stream, my videos when I posted MK.
And take our heroes into custody. Unknown to anyone else, Shang Tsung is already working behind the scenes with another sorcerer, Quan Chi. Johnny, Kenshi, Baraka, and Kung Lao are then sent to Outworld's dungeons called the Flesh Pits. There they would meet,
and that's where we meet Reptile,
with a few other prisoners, such as Caesar, aka Reptile, who is a shape-shifting warrior from the reptilian race known as the Zatarans. The quartet would manage to escape captivity and meet Ashra soon after. Ashra is a demon from the Netherrealm who had grown tired
Honestly, I was kind of, I'm like 50-50 with Reptile's
which pretty much turned her into an
new
outcast
form,
in the eyes of her people.
new version.
It's because of Ashra that Johnny and his group are able to find out that Quan Chi is creating powerful weapons that could absorb and harvest souls in mass. Shortly after that, the group would locate Quan Chi's hideout where they fight Ashra's fellow demon sisters and one of Quan Chi's ungodly creations.
It's literally the meme.
An undead creature made of souls he has stolen. In the end, our heroes are able to take out Ermac and Quan Chi. In addition to that, they're able to take down one of the sorcerer's soul harvesters. Afterward, Baraka would be sent to Earthrealm to let Fire God Liu Kang know about Shang Tsung and Quan Chi's schemes. Now, let's go off topic a bit because there's one thing in this new timeline that you need to be aware of. In this reality, Sub-Zero and Scorpion are just a couple of rivals who hate each other's guts. Instead, they're biological brothers. Specifically, the Sub-Zero of this new reality is the original one, Bai Han. On the other hand,
so that's right. In this timeline, Scorpion and Sub-Zero are brothers, which I was like,
they also have a third adopted
that is
Smoke.
Pretty stupid in my opinion, but alright.
That said, Liu Kang would then approach these three Lin Kuei warriors and give them a couple of important missions. One, they're tasked with destroying any and all soul harvesters they could find. And two, they have to nab Shang Tsung and bring him to Liu Kang. Their quest ends in disaster when Sub-Zero betrays his brothers after Shang Tsung promises him control of Outworld's dragon army. And as if that wasn't enough, Sub-Zero also revealed that he assassinated their father in order to quicken his rise as Grand Master of the clan. This act of treachery makes Scorpion and Smoke denounce their ties to their clan and are forced to retreat after this. Elsewhere, Garas would discover that although he doesn't know exactly who Damashi is, he does know that she comes from an alternate timeline. Of course, Garas would relay all of this to Liu
okay,
Kang.
fair point.
In turn, Liu Kang asks Li Mai for help in returning to Outworld.
Li Meng.
The Fire Gods meet Queen Sindel, Princess Katana, and Princess Melina in order to report what Shang Tsung and Quan Chi have been doing in the shadows. And in addition to that, Liu Kang would reveal how he had a hand in creating this new timeline they're living in. In the middle of their discussion, General Shao, who also happens to be working for Quan Chi and Shang Tsung, attacks our valiant heroes. He's eventually brought down and taken prisoner after the scuffle. And soon after that, Earthrealm and Outworld join forces to hunt down the two dastardly sorcerers and destroy their soul harvesters. Our heroes end up fighting Ermac again, with Melina coming out on top. In addition to that, they're able to bring Ermac to their side by having the soul of Sindel's late husband, Emperor Jared, possess Ermac's body. Not long after that, Liu Kang and his allies confront both Shang Tsung and Quan Chi. However, it is here that we get the big reveal about Damashi's true origin. She's not a god. Hell, she's not even a woman. In truth, Damashi is actually the Shang Tsung from an alternate timeline.
Oh yeah, that's
I know Mortal
right.
Kombat
That's
became
right.
quite
It was
confusing due to all these
the
time-traveling
actual
plots, but bear
Shang
with me here.
Tsung, the
You
evil
see,
one.
this new version of Shang Tsung is actually the same one that fought Fire God Liu Kang for control of Kronika's hourglass. It turns out that their fateful duel resulted in a crack within the fabric of space and time, which then allowed this version of Shang Tsung to continue surviving in a separate timeline. It's also important to remember that this particular Shang Tsung was the same one who defeated both Kronika and Liu Kang, which then allowed him to become a Titan. Now, as I mentioned earlier, that climactic fight that happened in Mortal Kombat 11's Aftermath expansion had
That
two
is the
endings.
most low-key
And yeah,
playbook,
it seems
dog.
both of them were canon somehow. In any case, this Titan Shang Tsung is pretty mad at Liu Kang. To be specific, he aims to merge his own timeline with the one that Fire God Liu Kang created. And after revealing his hand, Titan betrays his counterpart and Quan Chi before sending out his own timeline's champions to invade this reality.
Story.
Our heroes
Yeah, I
fight
know.
Titan
I'm like, oh
Shang Tsung's
no. This
underlings
was
and
also the
ultimately drive
year.
them away.
This was also the year where the multiverse was literally the biggest theme. Where like we had TV shows, movies, and freaking video games where it involved the multiverse. Literally, ever since the multiverse of like Avengers and all that shit, that the multiverse literally was the theme that entire year. I kid you not. I kid you not. The moment I got to this point in my video when I posted me playing MK1, I remember saying that multiverse became a theme for that entire year and everything was a multiverse reference. And I'm like, sure, I guess. It was getting hella overplayed. I know it was all ass. It's such lazy storytelling. Yeah. As that happened in MK1, I remember I was like that's not really exciting as I thought it would be. Even after beating the game, I'm like, oh, this was not it, dog. The multiverse angle, it was not it. Not for Mortal Kombat. It just did not go well at all.
However, Queen Sindel receives fatal wounds during the scuffle. Before passing, she appoints Melina to be Outworld's new empress. In the aftermath, Shang Tsung and our heroes would have no other choice but to band together in order to stop Titan Shang Tsung. Interestingly, we also discover from this reality's Shang Tsung that there are an unknown number of timelines present in the MK universe that not even his Titan counterpart knows about.
Oh my
This
god,
effectively
bro.
turns the MK universe
You're not
into a
Doctor
multiverse.
Strange, dude.
Back to our story. We find out that Liu Kang didn't lose his powers as a Titan when he decided to hand over Kronika's hourglass to Garas. Instead, Garas tucked it away safely, knowing that Liu Kang might need it one day. Well,
Yeah,
that
let
day
me
has
tuck
arrived,
away my
as Liu
yeah,
Kang
let me just tuck away my entire existence of my powers just because I may need it later. What? Oh my god. Oh, that's so stupid. Oh man, revisiting MK1 storyline is so, oh god. This was so stupid, bro. Oh god, lazy storytelling, bro.
regains his Titan abilities in order to confront the evil Shang Tsung. In the meantime, the rest of our heroes deal with the invading enemy hordes, such as the Dragon Army and some corporate warriors. With his Titan abilities, Liu Kang
Ew, make him
travels
good.
through various timelines to recruit champions who help him fight against.
Now, hear me out. This was pretty much, yeah, as the chapter said, Armageddon. Now, this I was like, listen, we're getting a knockback to the Armageddon game. I was cool with that. Seeing so many versions of characters in this chapter, in my opinion, was actually freaking gas. I honestly thought this was actually pretty cool. Honestly, it's in character for Lou to remake Garrus and his advisor and kind of fall safe. Fuck no. It's a bunch of nostalgia bait and buzzwords. Okay, hold on. But hear me out though. Let me continue what I wanted to say about this. Now, don't get me wrong. Even though I think this was gas of having a Nick hinting back to Armageddon, it still didn't mean that like I enjoyed the story. I still didn't like the story near the end, you know? And my only thing that I liked about this chapter is just, again, we're having multiple versions of characters that we all know, but they all have like legit different abilities, different powers. Some are fused with the other. That's my only concept that I actually like about this chapter. The story itself, it's still ass. It's still ass. I don't like it. It's just, this was the only thing that I actually liked, because during the story, when you're fighting characters that you know, but they have different abilities. They have different powers. That's when I thought the next update of MK1, we were actually going to create. I honestly thought they were gonna bring back character customization because of this chapter. But boy, was I wrong. Boy, was I wrong. Because the moment the DLC came out and then I looked at everything, I was like, this is ass. You didn't do anything. That empty box that I saw on the character screen didn't mean shit. I was very upset with that. I really was. They literally could have taken that opportunity to give Armageddon fans another a chance of redemption, to be like, hey, you can customize a character and give them different abilities and actually have a bigger variety of customization, unlike what they did in the original Armageddon, which was fucking ass. The character creation was literally dog water. You were so limited, very limited, and you just really couldn't do much. I honestly thought they could have redeemed themselves by doing this here for the first big MK update after MK1 update after the game launched. But like I said, I was wrong, and everything else of that game just became, well, it was already utter trash. You know, that's just me. So like, I know it's a bunch of nostalgia and buzzwords. I get it. But like I said, I appreciate that we low-key went back to doing Armageddon all over again, but it was a missed opportunity to have characters be customized and have different abilities. Like, you can have Reptile doing freaking you have Reptile be doing freaking Scorpion's freaking flames, but it's like mixed with poison or smoke, having smoking have like turn into smoke but can also freeze you, or you know, having Baraka abilities but you're also a thunder god, you know what I mean? Stuff like that. That's what I thought what would be really cool and happen, but you know, a man can only dream. You think NRS is that creative? Fuck no, I don't. Fuck no, I don't. It's just like I said earlier. The character creation in Armageddon for the PS2 was fucking trash. So after that process, I already knew everything was dead on arrival. So like, I'm not giving NRS credit, because if I actually thought they were gonna be that creative, like I said, Armageddon would have had a good amount of customization options, but you literally got scraps. You literally got scraps. So no, absolutely not. It's just a thought process that I thought would be cool, but you know, I'm not a game designer. So yeah.
Shang Tsung. On the other hand, Shang Tsung responds to this by summoning his own gang of champions, made up of evil versions of various MK characters. An all-out brawl ensues, and Liu Kang's team manages to take the win. He then uses his abilities to completely wipe out Titan Shang Tsung and the reality from which he comes from. Shortly after, Liu Kang would send his timeline-displaced allies to their respective home realities. Then he'd reunite with his own timeline's warriors for a victory lap. Here, we also find out that Liu Kang has started helping Smoke and Kuai Liang establish a new clan that would serve as Earthrealm's defenders, the Shirai Ryu. Everything seems to work out, or at least that's what it looks like at first glance, because as we soon find out, a version of the Chaos Realmer, Havoc, has just arrived in Liu Kang's timeline.
See what I mean? Quan Chi, but with Sub-Zero's ability? Freaking Tanya with freaking Katana's abilities? And Kenshi, I don't know what the fuck Kenji is, dude. I don't know what the fuck they did to him. I don't like his alternate I don't like his alternate design. That shit looks trash. Utter fucking trash.
From his own reality within the MK multiverse. And what does he want? A good old-fashioned scrap with this world's warriors. No surprises there, at least. Mortal Kombat 1, Chaos Reigns.
Okay, and now this is where I stopped playing Mortal Kombat. After Nitara's game board in Invasion, or whatever the fuck that game mode was, I stopped playing completely. I couldn't pass this stupid minigame where I'm supposed to dodge all the fireballs. after like the 12th time I've tried to pass it, I literally uninstalled the game because there was no other way to progress if I didn't beat that level. And as pissed off as that got me to be, I just didn't care about MK1 anymore. I literally uninstalled it and never played it again. I mean, I played it again, like last year for SoCal Gaming Expo, which is the next vlog that I'm going to be doing, by the way. And yeah, so I don't know what the fuck happens in Chaos Reigns, so this is totally brand new to me.
I just think it's lazy to just say, hey, it's a bunch of the same characters with different abilities from different universes, instead of just introducing new characters or reintroducing old characters.
And honestly, that is very valid. That is very valid. I do also agree that they should have, added more characters, to make it, to give a better Armageddon-ish type feel, expand the roster for MK1, but they didn't. And introducing new characters would be good, but also bringing back some old characters like, I don't know, Taven, because the fact that you want to bring a chapter that literally says Armageddon, you literally missed the opportunity for the DLC of Chaos Reigns. You literally could have brought back Taven and Dagon. You literally could have brought those two back in the DLC. That's what they should have done, because the fact that they brought some characters out, that was a missed opportunity. And then they're like, hey, let's add another freaking Terminator character, which was fucking stupid. Oh, let's add Conan. Huh? Why are we bringing Conan in Mortal Kombat? Had no reason to be in the game. The other Terminator had no reason to be in the game. Instead of those two, Tavon and Dagon should have been in the game. Homelander, don't even get me started. Only guest characters that I am letting it slide because I think it's cool a little bit, Omni-Man, and ironically, Ghostface. Because I think Ghostface in there is pretty cool, not gonna lie. But Terminator and Conan, dog. Conan was literally the nostalgia ring around to bring back old Mortal Kombat characters. I mean, old Mortal Kombat fans. But what was the point? Conan was like way back in the day. I honestly didn't think that would, be cool, I don't know. Fucking Raiko. I want to be Shao Kahn. Oh, and then Raiko, yeah. Out of all 3D era characters they fucking brought back Raiko. That's literally the entire character in the old timeline. Wow. Yeah. See, so back to when you said that you really think NetherRealm is creative. As I stated, fuck no, I don't, because they made very, very poor choices. They made very poor choices in characters, especially for the character DLC stuff. We didn't need Homelander. We didn't need Conan. We didn't need Terminator. I mean, Ghostface was actually pretty cool, to be honest, but like, if they were going to bring a character from a horror film franchise, not gonna lie, instead of Ghostface, they should have brought Hellraiser. Think about it. Hellraiser would actually be pretty fucking badass in Mortal Kombat, in the Mortal Kombat universe. Hellraiser would actually be really cool. Just saying. If it was a switch off, I would say Hellraiser instead of freaking Ghostface. But Ghostface, I mean, he's alright, I guess. But like, Conan didn't need to be in it. Terminator from Terminator 2000, whatever the fuck, didn't need to be in it. Homelander didn't need to be in it because we basically had two flying characters that technically had similar fight styles, which made no fucking sense. At this point, bring back meat. Bring back meat. No, I'll do you one better. Instead of meat, nah, bring back mocap. Cause why the fuck not? Oh yeah, mocap. Okay, see, I just read the comment. Or mocap. See, we have the same wavelength. Yeah, bring back mocap. fucking, I don't know. But let's wrap this up.
On top of that, we should also know that this particular version of Havoc has managed to already subdue his own timeline and allow himself to ascend to Titan status. So, for the sake of clarity, we'll be calling this new challenger Titan Havoc. Now, before we start talking about the next part of the MK saga, you have to know that this new reality Sub-Zero, aka Baihan, is still...
I now remember this scene because when they were talking about the DLC, they announced that in the DLC, returning characters were going to come back, but they were going to look slightly different. Therefore, Cyrax, and Sector being women cyborgs. Which, am I upset about it? No, but the gamers that saw the announcement had an outrage. And my thing is, I'm like, listen, you should have already known this was gonna happen because, again, we're in a new timeline. So the fact that they were gonna bring back old characters, you know they weren't gonna look the same. I'm not tripping that Cyrax and Sector are women. I really don't. The people that got really upset about it are freaking losers, in my opinion. They had no reason to get that mad over it. That's interesting, reintroducing and remake those guys. Oh, wait. Moloch and Draman strapped Scorpion in the Nether Realm when he was trying to kill Quan Chi in the old timeline. Yeah.
Still alive and well. In fact, he's managed to take sole control of the entire Lin Kuei clan after betraying his brothers, Smoke and Kuai Liang. So our next story begins with Baihan sending out a couple of top-tier assassins named Cyrax and Sector on a mission. Another thing you should know is that Cyrax is a bit of a renegade within the clan, meaning she's not the type to just blindly follow orders, even if it's from Sub-Zero. So to gain her complete allegiance, Sub-Zero crafted a lie and told her that Liu Kang and Kuai Liang are traitors to Earthrealm. Something that was enough.
Oh, so you had a lie. The good old lie playbook.
Sub-Zero orders Sector, Cyrax, and a platoon of Lin Kuei ninjas to assassinate Kuai Liang, which they plan to do on Kuai Liang's wedding day. However, this doesn't go exactly as planned. That's because this event is also attended by the rest of Earthrealm's champions, such as Johnny and Raiden, just to name a couple. Although the Shirai Ryu ranks suffer not so insignificant losses in the skirmish, Kuai Liang and the rest of our heroes manage to fend them off. On the other hand, Harami, Kuai's wife, is able to defeat Cyrax in single combat. But when Sector tries to take out Harumi, we see just how much of an honorable warrior Cyrax really is, as she stops her senior from eliminating the bride. As she puts it, the Lin Kuei were only supposed to take out their targets. Anyone not named Kuai Liang or Liu Kang shouldn't be taken down along with them. On the other hand,
and that's respect. Put some respect on Cyrax,
which makes her break away from the clan. Cyrax then succeeds in saving Harumi, but this leaves her open to be attacked by Kuai Liang. He defeats her in a duel, and Cyrax expresses her regret at being too blind to see beyond Sub-Zero's lies. But sorry isn't enough for Kuai Liang, and he prepares to kill
Scorpion is like, I ain't taking sorry for no one, the fuck?
Harumi intervenes and pleads with her groom to spare the former assassin. When the dust settles, the Lin Kuei are defeated, and both Sub-Zero and Sector are sent to Outworld's court for sentencing, since the Lin Kuei assisted General Shao and Kronika during the war. Queen Melina wants nothing less than
I love how Cyrax is not taking free. Who the fuck is that in the background?
Liu Kang and Kitana managed to convince her to show clemency.
Who was that chick?
War criminals. At this point, the story veers more towards
was that supposed to be Lady Scorpion?
Drama. But come on, guys, this is Mortal Kombat. So instead of that, we get another bloody, high-octane martial arts scuffle between Liu Kang and the rest of our heroes against Titan Havoc when he and his forces arrive inside the throne room. And in true MK villain fashion, Titan Havoc reveals that he was once in league with Titan Shang Tsung.
God, Kenshi looks like ass in this version, dude. That design is horrible. It's literally the mohawk. That's what's throwing it off for the entirety. I would have been okay if he was fucking bald.
Anyways, as I said, the brawl ensues between the two factions.
People love Scarlet's reintroduction in MK11. Bring her back. That would have been a good one, too. Brock, Bat, Natara, cool. Made her voiced by Megan Fox. Not so cool.
Yeah, Megan Fox was not a good choice in voice acting because she's very monotoned, and that was not good for Natara. That was very bad.
And to show their appreciation for not getting the death penalty, Sub-Zero and Sector ally themselves with our heroes. They're successful.
They should have got the other Megan, Megan Good. She would have been a better voice actress.
To kidnap Garas
probably.
In the process. To make matters worse, Sub-Zero also falls into Havoc's hand when he pursues the villain. He then learns that Titan Havoc is planning to steal Garas' time crystals, which he would then fuse with all the 6 Kamidogu. This will ultimately result in the destruction of the entire MK multiverse as we know it, which will then give Titan Havoc an opportunity to reshape it in his image. Afterward, Titan Havoc starts using Sub-Zero as his personal guinea pig and starts experimenting on him. Shortly after, Liu Kang and the rest of our heroes plan out how they're going to prevent Titan Havoc from getting what he wants. As much as the Fire Gods want to get in on the action, they agreed that it would be best for him and Melina to stay in their dimension in case Titan Havoc returns. So he assigns Kuai Liang, Sector, and Cyrax to infiltrate Titan Havoc's timeline. The 3 warriors do as they're told and eventually meet a trio of allies who are part of a resistance movement against Titan Havoc. First, there's Lieutenant Colonel Jonathan Cage, an alternate version of Johnny who
What the fuck? Captain America, Johnny Cage?
Then there's Rain and Tanya, the former rulers.
Rain was brought back? But Rain wasn't playable, right? Of course.
Isn't the first dimension that Titan Havoc aims to absorb. In truth, he has already
wait, Rain got some chocolate?
Such as Lieutenant Colonel Cage and Rain and Tanya's respective home dimensions. So Kuai Liang, Cyrax, and Sector team up with these 3 timeline-displaced rebels. They eventually end up falling into a maze trap that Titan Havoc set for them. They eventually escape, but it comes at the cost
I ain't gonna lie, that
life.
skin's actually pretty cool.
Side, Tanya's able to strike up an alliance
that's why
with
Rain wasn't
another
playable. He
creature
fucking
trapped inside
died.
The maze, the dragon Orin, who then helps them find a way out of the labyrinth. Ultimately,
Nah, Captain America, Soldier Johnny Cage, I actually like that design. It's not really bad.
Confronted by Sub-Zero, who has since been transformed by Titan Havoc into a
Rain was playable. Okay.
Called Noob Saibot. But when all
and of course, we all know Noob Saibot was playable.
To accomplish each and every one of their missions, and then some. For one, they successfully save Garas and steal the Kamidogu from Titan Havoc's clutches. On top of that, they're able to bring back Noob Saibot to their home dimension in order to see if they could revert his transformation and turn him into Bai Han again. They then
back
Noob
into the
Saibot
original
to
Sub-Zero,
Liu
because
Kang,
Sub-Zero turned into Noob Saibot.
Cure him of his corruption. Liu Kang tells them that he doesn't have the ability to reverse Bai Han's condition, but he does sever the man's
he's still a nigga.
Of course, the story's not
I can't
over
reverse
yet,
it. Yep,
and
nope,
Titan
he's
Havoc
still a
isn't
nigga.
just going to let things slide. So it doesn't take long for him and his forces to mount a counterattack against Liu Kang's world. The ensuing battle allows Titan Havoc to get back the Kamidogu and use it to
character
augment
was
his
horrible
already
though.
fearsome
Yeah.
powers. Still, it's not enough to defeat our heroes, as Noob Saibot and Liu Kang's combined might prove enough to bring down the invader. Noob Saibot then has a duel with Titan Havoc and ends up giving him a beating of his life. Knowing that Titan Havoc cannot be left alive, Noob Saibot prepares to give him a good old-fashioned fatality. However, Liu Kang stops him from flatlining the villain. As he puts it, they don't know the extent to which Titan Havoc has fused himself with his original timeline. As such, taking him out might also lead to the destruction of his home dimension, eradicating millions, if not billions, of innocent lives. But Noob Saibot is one stubborn son of a gun.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Liu Kang. In response,
he really
Garas
said
uses his
Zorro
powers to put Noob Saibot in suspended animation. As for Titan Havoc, they condemn him to a fate even worse than death. To be specific, not only does he get his appendages chopped off, but they trap him somewhere called the Void, a place entirely separate from space and time.
It was that bad they couldn't show it. That's crazy.
Titan Havoc wouldn't be able to mess with MK Universe ever again. With the war over, Sector goes back to Lin Kuei after Liu Kang grants her the position.
Now you can return
as
back
its
to
new
the Lin
Grandmaster.
Kuei.
He, Kuai Liang, and Garas then take the suspended Noob Saibot to the Shirai Ryu clan's base of operations and vow to find a cure for his condition. Finally, Kuai Liang approaches Cyrax and absolves her of all her crimes, appointing her as one of the Shirai Ryu's newest Grandmasters. And there you have it, guys. That is the full chronological story of the Mortal Kombat series. With that said, I just want to say that I intentionally didn't cover the Mortal Kombat Special Forces title here for a number of reasons. One, it's absolutely terrible. And two, its story doesn't really affect the overarching.
I was about to say, I'm like, I don't think that game even brought to the story anyway. And yeah, the game is just as bad. It's pretty bad.
The less said about this game, the better. Besides this, there are a few more titles we didn't cover today, as they aren't really considered canon. So, including
I swear to
them
God,
all
if you
would
say
just make
MK
the
versus
entire thing
DC,
messy.
we don't talk
If you
about
like
that
this
game.
video,
Yep,
feel
we
free
don't
to check
fucking
out some
talk
of
about
our
that
other
game. The game is
videos, and
bad.
in the meantime, protect your soul and always remember, everything can be solved with...
Okay. So here we are. Here's the final verdict. Now that we officially know the entirety of the story in the council, in the Kingston Kingdom, here we are in the council room with the verdict, with of course Husky on sitting on my right hand side of the council chair in the council room. I thank him for bringing up this idea for one, and two, about the story. Oh God, dude, where can I begin? Raiden's a fucking bum, dude. Like, Raiden has dropped the ball so many times. And the fact that Shao Kahn was getting glazed so hard that not only we had to reset the timeline 3 times, but he was still being glazed. Now, certain pluses, I mean, I think it's cool that Cyrax is now going to be like a Grandmaster. But now my thing is if the story's going to continue for the next Mortal Kombat game, that's if NetherRealm actually does it, that means Cyrax is going to be in game. But with the new timeline, Cyrax is still going to be a woman, which again, that's not really bad. I don't really care. Cyrax is still Cyrax. My thing is, for the next Mortal Kombat game, bring back characters that should be in the game. And since it's a new timeline, I'm begging you, bring back Taven and Dagon. They need to be in the next installment of Mortal Kombat. Because since the timeline got fucking reset, why not just bring them back? Just bring them back and give them a different timeline. I mean, a different storyline that isn't stupid, please. Okay, that's my verdict. If this story continues, they might throw it out and reset the timeline again. And if they do reset the timeline again, I will be real with you right here, right now. That will be the very last time I'll ever play Mortal Kombat. Because why do we have to keep resetting the timeline to quote unquote continue the story when they could have continued it literally from where Armageddon began? You should have just done Mortal Kombat 9 and continue off after the aftermath of Armageddon. That's what they should have done. Not do a rinse and repeat in a timeline of like, oh yeah, we're doing Armageddon, but we're taking it all the way back in the time of 1993 or 1992. My bad. It was stupid in my opinion. Resetting the time, like, okay, resetting the timeline the first time, I would have honestly been like, okay, they reset the timeline, let's leave it at that. But no, they had to do it. They had to do it again, and that was where I was like, what the fuck are we doing? You know, I don't mind Liu Kang being a fire god because, to be honest, I'd rather have Liu Kang be a god than Raiden, because Raiden is a bum. He is a bum. He dropped the ball way too many times. He literally freaking and not only that, the gods didn't do jack shit. They literally waited until Shao Kahn ran a train on so many freaking tournaments to where they're like, okay, maybe we actually should do something, but it was already too late. And the fact that Shinnok's mother is Kronika, that threw me off. I wasn't expecting that. But alas, it didn't change anything for me. I just hated Kronika even more. It just meant nothing to me. The first timeline reset was cool. Kronika bringing back old characters and shit. This was eh. The second timeline reset plus the multiverse is moronic, and I agree. I didn't like the fact that that NetherRealm hopped on the multiverse theme train and try to be like everyone else. They didn't have to do that. My thing is, for the next Mortal Kombat, bring back old characters, don't reset the timeline, and let things ride. Because here's the next question. Where the fuck is Onaga? Because since the timeline got reset twice, by the way, where's Onaga? That's where I'm thinking Onaga's probably going to come back in the next Mortal Kombat game. But, let's not reset the timeline this time. Because if Onaga were to come back in the next game, I say yes, but don't fuck it up. Because again, the timeline got reset, right? Twice. So Onaga can come back, Striker, Onaga, Striker, Taven, Dragon, fucking most of the other characters from Armageddon in general, like they could all come back still. You know? So that's my thing. Storyline, all in all, oh God. It's frustrating. I will say that. If anyone asks me what do I think of Mortal Kombat, I will literally just say it is frustrating. Frustrating because of gameplay? Fuck no. Frustrating because of the damn story and how many times they had to reset the timeline for no reason. First time reset, like we agreed. First timeline reset, it was fine. It was all right. But the second time, why? Why? And then be like, multiverse. Man, I'm from the multiverse, man. I never died. Like, no, we didn't have to do that. But alas, I adjourn. No, this council is adjourned with the final verdict, as Husky said. If the story continues, they might throw the timeline reset again. However, with my verdict, if they make another game, bring back characters that, did have a meaning and don't reset the timeline. And leave Raiden the way he is. Don't try to make him a god again because he is a bum. He is a bum. He will always be a bum. And the fact that Husky opened my third eye on realizing how bummy Raiden is. I'm now like, wow, Raiden is actually a piece of shit. Oh, and the gods, the elder gods, fuck them. Because they didn't do shit until last minute, and then they were like, yeah, we can't do shit, dog. I'm sorry. The story never makes the game. Yeah, unfortunately. But that's our verdict. Two verdicts. The timeline may be reset again, and the other verdict, let's have the timeline not reset again. So, and man, how long was this stream? This was a good verdict. This was good. I enjoyed this. This was 2 hours, and I'm not even mad. And that will basically count as the stream for the day, since I came back from work anyway. I'm gonna finally get to work on the WDW Go Home episode, because I'm off for 2 days, so I can definitely work on everything for the WDW episode, and then I'm gonna give like a 2 day workday to work on the pay-per-view of Homecoming. And then I have other days off, and then after that I have SoCal Gaming Expo. So you will get a vlog on that too. That's basically the schedule. WDW Go Home episode, Homecoming pay-per-view, SoCal Gaming Expo, the vlog ends with you episode. Those are 3 big videos to look forward to. But hey, I believe that Council Talk will be the permanent segment moving forward. I once again thank Husky for, bringing the idea of actually watching and discussing about the Mortal Kombat timeline. What do you guys think about it, though? Do you think Mortal Kombat is good the way it is? Do you think certain characters should have stayed? Do you think certain characters shouldn't have come back? What was your favorite boss fight? Let me know in the comments down below once this turns into a VOD. Thank you, Husky. You are now free to leave the council room, and I will catch you guys in the next council debate. Not council debate, council discussion. It's Wolfie Kings on the Wolfie Kings channel. Make sure you leave a like, subscribe if you're new, hit the hype button, and please hit that share button. Don't let the darkness dim your light. Make sure life doesn't end in despair. And as always, the content's with you. Please make sure you have yourself a damn good one. Catch you later, guys.